Titans offensive lineman Nicholas Petit-Frere gets a 6-game suspension for betting on other sports at the team facility. NBA free agency starts tomorrow, but what's the market for Kyrie Irving? ESPN's Ramona Shelburne.
There's not a lot of teams that are in position to make a realistic run at Kyrie Irving. He's a wildly talented player. I mean, when you go around the NBA and you ask people who's the most skilled player in the NBA, his name comes up a lot.
Ramona Shelburne on Fitz and Harry. After taking Connor Bedard with the first pick in the draft today, the Blackhawks make a trade with Tampa Bay to acquire the negotiating rights for soon-to-be free agent Corey Perry. Chicago gets a 7th-round pick for next year.
Do you own or rent your home? Sure you do. Fortunately, Geico makes it easy to bundle your home and car insurance. It's a good thing, too, because having a home is hard work. Go to geico.com, get a quote, and see how much you could save. Geico.com. Easy.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
That's right.
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
Alondra Villarreal. And Mr. Toby Tomplin. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Boy, we got a lot to do today. We're going to revisit some of what Jayden Daniels had to say this past weekend at the Manning Passing Academy. Of course, we sort of just bypassed all of that because LSU baseball was playing for a national championship. So looking forward to getting to that. And Shea Dixon was down in Thibodaux, so Shea Dixon will be with us in hour 3. But we will start with LSU's national championship celebration out at the box. And Jay Johnson, the way he opened up his comments last night had to be music to LSU fans' ears.
I didn't do a lot of preparing for this speech today because I was working on 2024 season, so bear with me.
Yeah, that's the kind of thing that is going to thrill LSU fans, and in no way should that be surprising. Like we talk about often with Coach Jay, he is that dude. He is that dude that is going to work maniacally to recruit, to make sure that he's got the best players, the best resources, the best everything he needs to be the best at everything they want to be, and that means hanging more banners and reworking the Intimidator multiple times over. But all things told, thousands of LSU fans at the box in a night to remember, a beautiful fireworks show at the end of the ceremony over the Intimidator, and it was a great opportunity to celebrate this great LSU team, which came together in the manner in which they did. And, of course, some of those guys were career guys, like Cade Beloso, guys who had spent their entire 5 years in Baton Rouge, including the COVID year they were allotted as a result of that 2020 season. And some were guys like Paul Skenes, who, reflected a bit on why he chose LSU.
The brotherhood at Air Force is very difficult to walk away from. But I'm glad I got it here and got to experience it with these boys. And, you guys are a big reason why I came here. The fans and playing here at Alex Box every weekend was way too good to pass up, and so glad that I came here.
Paul Skenes is a guy who his legend at LSU is forever written, and I would say the same about Dylan Cruz, as we know that White and Cruz are going to go 1-2 in whatever order that may be. Here was Dylan Cruz and his message to LSU fans.
None of this is possible without you guys, these coaches here. I mean, I can't put words to it. This is unbelievable. Thank you guys for the support for these past 3 years, best 3 years of my life. I mean, these guys behind me have built some of the best relationships with them. We're national champions, baby. What else can I say?
You know, I've been asked a lot if Dylan Cruz coming to school, having the experience he did, winning the Golden Spikes, winning a national championship, and now going to be either the number 1 or 2 pick in the draft, which is 10 days from now, if that, along with NIL, might encourage more elite players to go to college, the short answer is no. Because Dylan Cruz is, I'm not going to say that he's unique, but he is certainly rare in the sense that a guy that very well could have been a first-round draft pick out of high school showing up at college for any reason is rare. But it happens. It happened with Alex Bregman. Dylan Cruz, it happened largely because of COVID. Bregman, it happened because he had a broken bone in his hand and missed a chunk of his senior year. So it happens, but sometimes it's extenuating circumstances. The best thing that can happen for the college game that could potentially encourage more players, more elite high school players to show up on campus is that the college game continues to improve. And what I mean is, if a player has the option of, as an 18-year-old, taking a signing bonus and then going play minor league ball, riding a bus, making a pittance. Remember, your salary as a minor leaguer is peanuts. What you get to sign is a bonus. So it's not like you're getting that amount of money over the course of a rookie contract or something like it might be in the NFL. That slot value that you get or whatever you get, that is a signing bonus. When you're in the minor leagues, you don't make any money. And so I think the decision that players will ultimately have to make is predicated more so on if the college game continues to improve. When you look at any mock draft right now, and you look at the elite players that are at the top of that draft, and in particular the pitchers, you see Paul Skenes, you see Rhett Lauder, you see Hurston Waldrop, you see those names, you see Ty Floyd, which we'll talk about in a little bit as well, but you see those names that were great college pitchers, Dolander, Sproat. When you can go to college and face that level of pitching or that level of hitting as a pitcher and live a much better quality of life, meaning you get to fly private. Well, when you're at LSU, you get to fly private. You get to stay in nice hotels. You have a nice apartment on campus. You have room and board paid for. You do get NIL opportunities, which isn't going to completely offset signing bonus money for a lot of those guys, but it would certainly help to have a little more spending money in your pocket. You get to play in front of 10,000 fans. You get to play in meaningful games. You get to play for championships. You get to be the big man on campus. There's a lot of reasons to suggest that if you're Dylan Cruz, you're better off, and Cruz, again, is an outlier, but a player like that, going to college for 3 years, living the college life, playing in competitive games, a big stage, seeing that caliber of pitching and continuing to improve as opposed to playing A ball and riding around on a bus hoping to get your shot, staying in a motel in towns playing in front of 100 people. So, and especially if you continue to see college players fast-tracked to the majors. Guys who excelled in college, they have a shorter stint in the majors as opposed to getting paid on the front end and having a longer stint in the majors. So the bigger thing is the college game continuing to improve. As long as the college game continues to attract great players, and it becomes more of a breeding ground, particularly in the SEC, for great college baseball, then you're going to have more and more elite players want to come play in college and have that decision to make, as opposed to riding a bus and toiling through the minor leagues for however long that may be. So the champ celebrated last night out at Ibach Stadium, and Jay Johnson punctuated it with another statement. As he started by saying he's getting ready for 2024, he punctuated his statement with something else that should thrill LSU fans.
Louisiana, LSU, you have my entire heart. There's nowhere else in the world that I want to coach baseball than right here, right now. I love you guys.
He said it many times, and I believe him. The guy does not have professional ambition, and there is no reason to think he would leave LSU for another college job. So if you're Jay Johnson, where you gonna go? He's at his dream job. He's 46 years old. He is pot committed to this place. He's already won a national championship, and the fire's already burning to win another one. It is a good time to be an LSU baseball fan. All right, it is After Further Review. Our Thursday show is brought to you by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. Bluebonnet in Baton Rouge, Ambassador Caffrey in Lafayette. Of course, we welcome this week our audience in Lafayette on ESPN 1037 Lafayette. So we appreciate all of you there. Check out our friends over at the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. Just tomorrow's the last day of the month. So remember, tomorrow's the last day to take advantage of that great special we've been telling you about, which is you buy 4 laser hair removal treatments and you get 2 free. That ends tomorrow. So take advantage of it over at the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. All right, y'all, it is After Further Review. We'll knock out a quick break, come back, talk a little LSU football. Jayden Daniels was at the Manning Passing Academy this past week and made some really interesting comments that I'd like to touch on. We'll do that next here on AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by Clegg's Nursery with 4 locations in the greater Baton Rouge area. Siegen near Airline, LA 16 in Denham, Mid-City on Don Moore, and the Garden Center on Greenwell Springs. You hear me say it every day. Buy local, shop local. I love telling you about Clegg's because they're the largest garden center in the state, so they got a great selection. They have expertly trained horticulturists that can answer all of your questions. But they're local. This is a local business. When you go buy flowers and plants and trees and shrubs and all at Clegg's, you're not going to a big box store where those items were put on a box truck and shipped in here. They last longer because they're acclimated here, because they were grown here. That's the benefit of shopping local. And, of course, it's a great local business that supported our community for 6 decades. That's Clegg's Nursery. Yes, they've got the Aeon mosquito barrier. You can go check it out. You've heard me talk about it for a long time now. It's $24.99. For $25 a month, you can be done with the mosquitoes 90 days at a time. It's at Clegg's Nursery. Buy local, shop local at Clegg's Nursery.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Bayou Ford has up to $7,000 off MSRP plus 0% financing on new 23 Ford F-150 XLT trucks and incredible deals on all remaining 2022 inventory. All with Bayou's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
The importance of doing this Fortified program and offering it to people down here is, number one, the only real chance you're going to get to do this is when you put on a new roof or build new. And through companies like HUDCO, who's kind of leading the way in this thing, it's going to offer the customers a huge advantage in the insurance market and the price of their insurance.
You know, we're not looking to make a fortune off fortifying. We're trying to give you a better product than our competitor at the moment. I'm trying to do something that he can. I'm trying to give you something better. So a lot of these insurance jobs, you're getting a re-roof, you're only paying your deductible. Let's sit down and talk about the Fortified and let's see what it does to your insurance premium. You're getting a steal.
Yeah.
You're getting a brand new roof and a Fortified certificate for your deductible, essentially. And I think we're rocking and rolling.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756.
How the NCAA sent a very standoffish letter to its member institutions about NIL regulations. David Fleshman, who is an NIL attorney, a former LSU basketball player, by the way, as well, he's going to be with us next hour, like literally 1 hour from right now, to kind of break this down for us in layman's terms and why it's significant. I should have done this to start the show in the last segment, but I'm an idiot and I totally forgot, so let's do it now.
It's time to pop the top on another edition of AFR with Bud Light. Drink easy.
All right, so I'm a segment late. My bad. I totally forgot. I was all jacked up about the championship celebration from last night. So the Manning Passing Academy was this past weekend at Thibodeau, and it was the 27th Manning Passing Academy. Archie, Peyton, Eli, Cooper, all of the Mannings get together, and it's down at Nichols, and it's attracted quarterbacks from all over the country. It's the preeminent skills camp for quarterbacks. We all know what it is, and we're very familiar. One of the really cool things about the Manning Passing Academy is that the Manning Passing Academy every year allows the media to come down, and they get to talk to a lot of the players. And then they have like skills competitions, and they rank the quarterbacks and grade them and all that sort of stuff. And it was a really good year for the LSU players. As a matter of fact, LSU had not one but two quarterbacks participate. Now, part of the reason that's possible is just proximity. There's certainly other programs in the country that have multiple really good quarterbacks that are able to participate in the Manning Passing Academy, but LSU's proximity to Thibodeau allows them to sometimes bring more by invitation. As a matter of fact, we've seen that in the past where LSU's had multiple quarterbacks down at the Manning Passing Academy. If I'm not mistaken, I think Burrow and Miles Brennan both went back in 2019, if I'm not mistaken. And for whatever it's worth, On3 Sports put out their rankings of the standouts. I don't even know if this is a ranking necessarily, just as a list of the quarterbacks that stood out. They mentioned Joe Milton from Tennessee, Drake May from North Carolina, Michael Penix, who won one of the skills competitions there with the Mannings, Quinn Ewers out of Texas, Devin Leary, the NC State transfer, who's now at Kentucky, and then both LSU quarterbacks, Jayden Daniels, Garrett Nussmeier, and Riley Leonard from Duke. Probably the best quarterback that nobody knows who he is in the country is Riley Leonard, big old 6'5", strong-arm kid who is a really talented player. Just nobody really, quite honestly, pays much attention to Duke for reasons I think we all understand. But what was interesting was, aside from all the skills competition and everything that goes on at the Manning Passing Academy, there are media opportunities, and the local media here took time to chat with Jayden Daniels. And Jayden Daniels did exceptionally well there at the Manning Passing Academy. And he, of course, took note of the championships won by both previous second-year head coaches, Kim Mulkey and Jay Johnson. Had this to say.
We want to be the next. The baseball team is going to come back and take it home, and, we're going to be next to go out there and take it one game at a time and showcase our talents.
So that, of course, was on Saturday before the baseball team had polished off its national championship, which they would go on to do. But Daniels talked a lot. He talked about the going into year two at LSU and a lot of different stuff, which I want to get to. But the thing he said kind of at the end of his of his media session is the thing that got a lot of attention this past weekend. Give a listen to what Jayden Daniels had to say.
We have the best quarterback room in the country. I put us against anybody in the country. For us, it's we're tight. Not just Nuss, but Ricky Collins. I treat him like my little brother. So just seeing him be able to grow day in and day out, coming in as a true freshman, trying to just learn how to live on his own. Even though he's from Baton Rouge, but it's different living on your own, and just how to maneuver, how to treat things professionally. So, I'll just say that how tight we are, that's just a blessing for us because, most people don't really get this in their room of just guys that just want to see each other be successful at the end of the day.
Alondra, can you just play the very beginning of that again for those that might have missed it? It was a 41-second clip, but really the most important part was like the first 5 seconds. Play it again?
We have the best quarterback room in the country.
That's it. Jayden Daniels said, we have the best quarterback room in the country. Now, LSU was the only program there that had 2 quarterbacks at the Manning Passing Academy. And I love, by the way, the comments that Jayden Daniels made about Garrett Nussmeier. As a matter of fact, can you play 6, please? This was what Jayden had to say about Garrett Nussmeier.
Yeah, like I said before, Nuss, me and Nuss, we have a tight relationship. A lot of people might not really, from the outside, you might see it as a quarterback competition. We just want both of us to get better. He knows his role, I know my role. When his name and number is called, I know he's preparing already because it's the work he puts in and day out, just to change his body, change his mentality. So after this year, it'll be his turn to go in there and light things up. I can't wait to see that. I'm proud of him and how he's handled things. So going out there and just seeing the work that he's put in day out.
First of all, it's very good that LSU's quarterbacks get along so well because that could be a toxic situation. We've talked plenty about Garrett Nussmeier and his journey and the fact that he is continuing to stick it out at LSU in an era where it's never been easier to leave, and people would quite honestly understand if Garrett Nussmeier had decided to jump ship and go seek an opportunity elsewhere. That's just the nature of the quarterback position in today's college football, but he's a guy who clearly has decided he's staying at LSU. He'll wait it out this year, and then it'll be his turn. But I want to go back to Jayden Daniels' comments about LSU having the best quarterback room in the country. I don't know that I could say that because you have some quarterback rooms that include the best quarterbacks in the country, like Southern Cal has Caleb Williams, and North Carolina has Drake May. What LSU certainly has is depth that not everybody has. Garrett Nussmeier already has 150 passing attempts in his career, in his 2 seasons in Baton Rouge. He's a guy that had an opportunity to play the entire second half of the SEC championship game against Georgia. So LSU's got depth. But so does a place like Ole Miss. Spencer Sanders, a 5th-year player who's been a starter his entire career at Oklahoma State, transfers in. Jackson Dart, who started for Ole Miss a year ago, transferred him from USC and then started last year at Ole Miss. Walker Howard was a 5-star. Ole Miss has great depth as well. Again, I completely am okay with Jayden Daniels pumping up his guys, pumping up his team, and believing in his team. I'm not in any way disparaging. I'm not saying, what do you want him to say? No, we think we're okay, but there's so many that are better. No, of course not. So that's not the point that I'm making here. I think with Jayden, though, and the comments that he made that I thought were interesting. By the way, hat tip to Crescent City Sports on the audio. So attribution to Crescent City Sports on the audio. What I will say is, well, I don't know that I would say that LSU has the best quarterback room in the country. What I think I'm comfortable saying is LSU's got the best quarterback room in the SEC. And I don't know that I really had to think long and hard about that. Because if you actually look at the SEC for this year, off the top of your head, who's got a better starting quarterback than LSU? I just mentioned Spencer Sanders at Ole Miss, who's played a lot of football during his time at Oklahoma State. You could look around the league and you could say, well, Devin Leary, who had been at NC State transferring into Kentucky, although that's a new situation, a different situation. We know the answer is not Alabama with Jalen Milroe or Ty Simpson. I'm not sure Connor Wigman at Texas A&M is going to garner any attention as the best quarterback in the league. Auburn's a mess. Will Rogers at Mississippi State? He's got some good passing statistics under Mike Leach's offense, but what's that going to look like this year? I don't know. Really, the only guy that I would say you could maybe have a legitimate argument for would be KJ Jefferson at Arkansas, because he's in the same boat as Jayden in that both of those guys are fifth-year players. Your KJ is back for a fifth season, as is Jayden. The difference is KJ didn't become a starter till year 3, so he's a 2-year starter. Whereas Jayden Daniels is entering year 5 as a starter. He started every game as a freshman at Arizona State and has started his entire career since. So, yeah, I would make a really strong argument. And by the way, it's not just about numbers, but Jayden Daniels, or having played that long, Jayden Daniels has started all 43 games in which he's played. KJ Jefferson has 26 starts. So Jayden has started 17 more games than KJ Jefferson. Jayden Daniels has thrown for 3,000 more yards than KJ Jefferson, 5,800 to 8,900. Jayden Daniels is 63 yards away from throwing for 9,000 yards in his career. He'll blow past 10,000 yards passing in his career. Jaden's got 49 touchdown passes. KJ 48 touchdown passes. And you might say, well, look at the rushing yards because KJ Jefferson is a really good running quarterback, big physical guy. Jayden Daniels has run for 700 more yards in his career than KJ Jefferson, 1,400 to 2,100. So in any way you look at it, experience, passing yardage, rushing yardage, wins, Jayden Daniels has had a more productive career than KJ Jefferson. So going into this season, if you're looking for more reason to be optimistic about LSU, that's it. I mean, there isn't a year that I can remember where at the start of the season we would have said LSU's got the best quarterback in the conference. I know Joe Burrow became that. He became the best player any of us ever saw. But coming out of 2018, our conversation wasn't going into 2019, Joe Burrow is the best quarterback in the country. Joe Burrow is the best quarterback in the SEC. That wasn't a realistic conversation we were having. Joe Burrow had a very pedestrian 2018 and then had a really good finish to 2018. The 7 overtime game against Texas A&M, threw for 300 yards in the bowl game, in that Fiesta Bowl, and it was a nice springboard into 2019, but we weren't having a conversation about Burrow being the best in the conference. Certainly not the best in the country. We can legitimately have that conversation about Jayden Daniels today. That's another reason why, if you're betting on the Tigers this year, you've got good reason to do so. Now, maybe Spencer Sanders at Ole Miss allows them to be a better team than I'm giving them credit for being. Maybe one of the 3 guys at Alabama figures it out and takes hold of that job. Maybe Will Rogers has a monster blow-up season this year. Maybe Spencer Rattler uses the late season success when they beat Tennessee and beat Clemson and uses that as a springboard into this season to realize the potential many had 2 years ago when he was a projected number 1 pick. Maybe it is Joe Milton, who is the physical freak athlete who started at Michigan and went to Tennessee and lost out the starting job battle to Hendon Hooker. Well, now it's his turn. And maybe that's there. Those are a lot of maybes. With Jayden Daniels, I know. I know what he is. And if he keeps improving at an incremental rate that he has throughout his career, there's reason to believe he's going to be awesome next year or this year at LSU. A lot of reason to be excited about Jayden Daniels. Maybe LSU doesn't have the best quarterback room in the country, but I would argue they have the best quarterback room in the SEC. And if the SEC is the best league in America, then you're making a very compelling case for LSU to be right in the mix for the national championship with Jayden Daniels under center. All right, it's after further review. Our Open Every Day brought to you by Bud Light. Great sponsors of LSU. Congratulations to Jay Johnson and the national championship winning LSU Tigers. You're seeing the Bud Light billboards all over town congratulating Coach Jay, the LSU Tigers, on the program's 7th national championship. And we'll continue to remind you about Folds of Honor. When you see the camouflage aluminum bottles of both Bud Light and Budweiser, remember, every purchase goes to help fund Folds of Honor, to benefit Folds of Honor, which helps fund scholarships for the children of the men and women who have lost their life in the line of duty in defending our country. So, over 13 years, $21 million they've donated to Folds of Honor. So, our salute to our friends at Mockler Beverage, great local company that's been supporting our community for 4 decades. So many great charitable endeavors, and of course, Folds of Honor at or near the top of that list as well. Drink easy in Louisiana this 4th of July with Bud Light. All right, y'all, it's After Further Review. Glad to have you hanging out here. We'll knock out a quick break and come back to a little around the SEC. Stick around. It's AFR.
AFR.
Get Gordon and get it done. I know you saw him. If you were watching the championship celebration at the box last night, you saw the members of the G team wearing the 88-88 Reasons to Rally hats. Gavin Dugas was there, Trey Morgan, Cade Beloso, Gavin Guidry. Of course, Gordon bought 8,888 rally shots at Rocco's, and so, as only he would do, of course, he flipped them into billboards and hats and a great marketing opportunity. So Gavin Dugas and all the members of the G team were out there last night at the box with their 88-88 Reasons to Rally hats on, courtesy of Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. You know what to do. Get Gordon, get it done. If you are injured in an accident and you need representation, trust the attorney and the team that has helped injure people in Louisiana for more than 3 decades. It's Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. You can always call 888-8888. Get Gordon, get it done.
I drove myself to the ER, had heart surgery, and drove myself home 24 hours later, feeling fine. Starting running again after the procedure, I'm getting excited thinking about it. I had no pain, nothing. I felt great. And right then and there, I was like, oh my God, I'm back. I'm back. It's just amazing.
Ochsner Health. Long live you.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all of that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com.
We'll go around the SEC in just a quick second. Jay Johnson at the championship celebration at the box last night said something that was pretty obvious to all of us, but to him as well, about this LSU offense in 2023.
What did they do? They played with great fundamentals. We had the best offense in college baseball. We led the country in on-base percentage, slugging percentage, runs, and I don't know if there's ever been a team that's more exciting to watch with the style that they played offense. It was a pitching staff that struck out 798 guys over the entire season.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's a school record for the most number of strikeouts in a season. Omaha record for most number of strikeouts by a pitching staff at the College World Series. And for his team's efforts, Jay Johnson, his efforts, was named Collegiate Baseball's National Coach of the Year. So congrats to Jay Johnson on an honor that we all anticipated he would get. So often the coach of the team that wins the national championship does win National Coach of the Year honors, and most of the times it is deserved, and so is the case here for Jay Johnson. And we expect that the accolades will continue coming in. As a matter of fact, while we were there in break, literally this just was published while we were away. So I'll go ahead and share it with you. This is Baseball America. Baseball America has listed its All-America team, and there are 3 LSU Tigers on the first team. Dylan Cruz is your first team center fielder. Paul Skenes is first team All-American on the mound. And how about Tommy White, a first team All-American at third base for LSU from Baseball America? I'm not saying that Tommy White isn't deserving, but White hit. He slashed 374, 432, and 725 with 24 homers and 105 RBI. So we know that Tommy White had an incredible season, but so often, sometimes guys get overshadowed when there's other stars, which is the one thing that stands out the most to me, because I'm scrolling here at the Baseball America All-America team, and of course I'm expecting to see Dylan Cruz and Paul Skenes. I did not think that I would see Tommy White as a first-team All-American. He's absolutely deserving with 24 bombs and hitting behind Dylan Cruz and all the attention given him. As teams try to pitch around Cruz, White consistently made them pay. The surprise to me is that's it. Baseball America listed 3 All-America teams and first, second, third team. And so for me, it's always the question of, okay, well, if you're going to take somebody off, then if you're going to put someone on, then who do you take off? And the most obvious name that's missing to me is Trey Morgan. I think Trey Morgan should have garnered All-American honors. I know they don't give out career awards, but that's a guy that hit over 300 for his entire career. He played a stellar left field and first base. And as I think about it, that is probably the reason why Trey Morgan didn't win an All-America award. Now, when we start seeing some of the all-defensive teams, he's no doubt going to be listed there. But I don't know if you're a voter, where would you have voted for Trey Morgan as a first baseman or as a left fielder? Because he split time there, and as the season went along, played both spots equally as far as the number of starts for Trey Morgan in left field and at first base. So perhaps that's part of the reason why. That's disappointing, no doubt, but nonetheless, congrats to Trey Morgan on an amazing season. He's going to be an interesting guy to see where his name is called in the upcoming draft, which, by the way, is 10 days from today. All right, it is After Further Review. We're brought to you by Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Windows, door siding, Relief Windows, and ReliefWindows.com. Check them out, y'all. Energy-efficient replacement windows. You know you need that this time of year. It's 100 degrees outside every single day. You want to lower your energy bills. You want to keep your home cooler. Keep that cool air in, the hot air out. Relief Windows can help. Energy-efficient replacement windows from Relief Windows. You can also make your home more energy-efficient with hardy plank or vinyl siding, which will also make your home safer. It is fire-resistant, and you never have to paint your home whenever you get hardy plank or vinyl siding. It's finished in your favorite color or whatever color you want. That's from Relief Windows. They do it all. Windows, door, siding, Relief Windows, and reliefwindows.com. Okay, let's do it. We do it every day about this time. Let's go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, presented by Gulf Coast Office Products, excellence in imaging solutions. The Mississippi State Bulldogs.
Well, news broke last week that freshman Dakota Jordan had entered his name into the transfer portal, surprising to many. And today, however, Jordan has removed and withdrawn his name from the portal. So he'll be back at Mississippi State for a sophomore season. Jordan, as a freshman, at 307 with 40 RBI and 10 homers. He's a former Mississippi Gatorade Player of the Year and will remain with the Bulldogs.
The Tennessee Volunteers.
Tennessee nabbed a commitment from transfer pitcher Nate Snead, who spent his freshman season at Wichita State. 6'2", 200-pound righty. Hits triple digits on the gun. He'll be at Tennessee next year. Out of the bullpen, made 24 appearances for the Shockers, a 3.16 ERA. Of course, Tennessee's got a ton to replace on the bump. They lose Chase Dolander, Andrew Lindsey, Chase Burns, Seth Halverson, and Cam Sewell.
The Kentucky Wildcats.
Kentucky landed a commit from big man. Gotta wish Musso was here. No offense, Alondra. But this is one Moose would really enjoy hearing me say. Somto Chukwu? Cyril. Somto Chukwu Cyril. I think I got it. Somto Chukwu Cyril. Clip that. Anyway, he's a 7-foot, 240-pounder. They call him Baby Shaq. He's originally from Africa, raised in Nigeria, and is now in the United States playing basketball. He was expected to reclassify for the class of 2023, but it looks like he's going to stay in the class of 2024. But nonetheless, the big man is committed to the Wildcats.
The Alabama Crimson Tide.
And one more bit of commitment news, this one on the gridiron for Nick Saban. Isaiah Faha flipped his commitment from Utah to Alabama. He's from Phoenix City, Alabama. He's a 3-star defensive lineman, 6'2", 275, had been committed to Utah, now has flipped to Alabama, gives the Tide 9 commits for its 2024 class. All right, there you have it. That is Around the SEC, presented by Gulf Coast Office Products. Shout out to our guy, Trey Beal, and our friends at Gulf Coast Office Products. By the way, I mentioned this yesterday. I'll continue to mention tomorrow. We'll give it away. But our friends at Gulf Coast Office Products, they're great community partners. I mention it all the time. Baton Rouge, New Orleans, North Shore, Lafayette. They're all over. So our friends, on ESPN 103.7 in Lafayette, you've got Gulf Coast Office Products there in the 337 as well. But they were contributing to Brock Rock and Wine, which is a fundraiser for Brock, and which Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic. And they have a traction baseball camp gift certificate that they want to give away. They said, Matt, here, just give this away on air. So what we're going to do is when Terrio's here tomorrow, Friday, we are going to give this away totally at random. If you'd like to win it, to give it to your son. It's a full week of baseball camp at Traction. There's no camp next week because of 4th of July, but Gulf Coast Office Products is giving away this gift certificate for a week of summer baseball camp at Traction. Just text the word hashtag Traction. Text hashtag Traction to 225-396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. We'll take all the entries, put them in a randomizer, and it'll spit out a winner tomorrow. So we'll be able to give that away when Terrio's here tomorrow. So we'll look forward to that, courtesy of our friends at Gulf Coast Office Products, the official office equipment provider of the LSU Tigers, New Orleans Saints, New Orleans Pelicans, and the ULL Raging Cajuns. All right, y'all, it's after further review. Quick break. We'll come back, wrap up hour number 1. David Fleshman, NIL attorney, is going to be with us in 30 minutes from right now. I wanted to explain all the stuff that happened earlier this week with the NCAA sending that letter about NIL to all the schools who are straying from NCAA rules. We'll get to that coming up here in about half hour. Stick around. It's AFR.
AFR.
4th of July is this weekend. If you're going to be stocking up on goodies for the 4th of July, get on by Rouse's. Rouse's, of course, is the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints with 60 locations all over the Gulf South. It is Rouse's. Love telling you about all the great specials that they have as well. They have great weekly specials at Rouse's. So if you're going to be having that 4th of July party, you're going to be grilling dogs or burgers, having a few cold pops, whatever it may be, make sure you get it all over at Rouse's. Some great deals right now. You can get pork shoulder steaks or country-style ribs, $1.47 a pound. You can get U.S. Angus choice beef, a USDA Angus choice beef whole rump roast for $2.99 a pound. They got Red Baron pizzas. Who doesn't love a Red Baron pizza at like 1 a.m. or any time of day? Any time of day. Only $3.97 for Red Baron pizzas right now over at Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. It's Rouse's.com or download the Rouse's app. Rouse's, this feels like home.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $25,000 off new 22 Ram 1500 SCA trucks and incredible deals on all remaining 2022 inventory. All with Bayou's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Hello, Samantha, dear, I hope you're feeling fine. And it won't be long until I'm with you all the time. But until then, I spend my money up right down on my last dime. Come home in Baton Rouge. I'm ready what you put me on through. Gotta send my love down the
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com.
The NCAA Division I Council has proposed changes to the transfer portal, more specifically the transfer period. Raise your hand if you love the transfer portal. In the studio, raise your hand. Oh, really? Alondra, what do you love about the transfer portal?
I like that it gives kids opportunities to go somewhere else if they're not getting what they need out of the program that they're at, or if they're just not happy there. I like that they can move around if they want to.
No worry about loyalty to the people that recruited you?
You know, you got to look out for yourself sometimes, you know?
Team concept, Alondra.
Yeah, that's an argument for sure.
Paul O'Neill raised his hand as well.
I did.
You're a fan of the portal?
I am.
Oh, wow.
It gives the power to the players.
Why do you hate team concepts, Paul?
I don't hate it.
You're not a foxhole guy?
Nah.
So T-Bob said last night on Scone and T. People were saying he wasn't a foxhole guy.
T-Bob?
Yeah, I don't know. Apparently it's a thing with T-Bob and Jake about being a foxhole guy.
I don't get it.
He tried to explain it to me. I don't know. We were at Oliver Twist last night. They kept feeding us delicious cocktails that were frothy and delicious, and T-Bob's was in a giant, like, chalice that was as big as a basketball, and mine was in a very regular-sized cup.
Sounds about right.
It was comically large. It was perfect, actually. Anyway, I love the transfer portal. If you've listened to this show for any length of time, you know that. I am admittedly, my hand in the air, I am an extremist. Most things in life, on most things, I try my best to stay between the lines. I try to say, like, okay, I can see both sides of an argument and merit on both sides. And generally speaking, when you're willing to consider the thoughts and opinions and ideas of others, there's more harmony, because most people, regardless of what you're talking about, do have some merit to whatever their argument may be. I'm not saying don't be firm in your stance of what you believe. Of course you want that, but sometimes it's important to consider the ideas and thoughts and opinions of others. I am an extremist, admittedly, with NIL and with the transfer portal. Let the kids go wherever they want, whenever they want, play whatever sport, however, wherever, whenever, and let them make as much money as they can with NIL. I don't care. The reason college athletics is in the spot it's in right now is because for 100 years, the NCAA has operated with these absurd notions of amateurism around college athletics. While it continues, and that's, by the way, that's fine. That's fine. It starts getting iffy when you start monetizing all of it to the tunes of more than $1 billion a year, and you have free labor. That's the problem. I hear the argument all the time. We are paying high school athletes. High school athletics isn't $1 billion industry. There's no National High School Athletic Association that's got $1 billion TV contracts for basketball. They got that in college basketball. Anyway, the NCAA Division I Council has proposed changes to the transfer period window. So essentially right now when players enter the portal, it's a 60-day, you have a 60-day window or two windows that total 60 days to enter the portal. They're looking to cut that down to 30 days. And I'm fine with that, by the way, because so far what we know with data that exists is that the overwhelming majority of players that enter the portal do so at the beginning of the portal window. And so if shrinking that window gives coaches and coaches more time to react to and compensate for losses in the portal, great. You're not waiting until the end. If you shrink that portal window by half, and now athletes have 30 days to get in the portal, that's an extra 30 days for coaches to compensate for what losses they may have as a result of the transfer portal. And so I'm fine with the shrinking portal window as long as players have the option to go into the portal and transfer wherever they want. I said this last week when we were talking about NIL, because it was Brian Kelly who went to D.C. with a whole lot of other SEC coaches. And the point I made then is what Brian Kelly said and what Nick Saban said and what Jimbo Fisher said and Lane Kiffin and so many other coaches is we got to get a hold on this NIL stuff or it's going to ruin college athletics. And the point I made then is, the group of people who never says, man, we got to get a hold of this NIL thing. Boy, we really got to get it under control. You know what group never says that? The players. The people making money. The student athletes. I have yet to hear one student athlete say, boy, this NIL thing ruining college athletics. They better get a hold on this. Better cap the money we can make. Boy, I tell you, they're really ruining the fabric of college athletics. You've never heard that from a player. You hear it from coaches because coaches are the ones who are inconvenienced. They commit resources to recruiting kids. They get them to campus, and then kids can leave. Okay. So can coaches. So I don't care. Let them leave. I'm sorry, millionaire coach, that you've been inconvenienced by a player leaving your program. Figure it out. And coaches should be excited about this. That's 30 fewer days that you have to worry, is someone going to leave, and 30 more days that you have to recruit your roster out of the portal. And if you don't like it, retire, dinosaur. And some young coach who is willing to do this will do just fine. Had Will Wade on the Rosters to Riches podcast I did with Jonathan Pixley a couple weeks ago. Will said, I just recruit guys and I say, hey, look, if you're great, go to a better program. We'll get the next one of you. Pretty simple. Adapt or die. Hour 2 next.
AFR.
Brought to you by South Point Volkswagen, southpointvw.com. New and certified pre-owned in Baton Rouge and online at southpointvw.com, and in Lafayette, Southwest Volkswagen. So, for those of you listening on our wonderful Lafayette affiliate, ESPN 1037 Lafayette or ESPN 1041 Lake Charles, Southwest Volkswagen, right there in Lafayette, so you can check them out. And remember, of course, Baton Rouge, Louisiana's largest volume Volkswagen dealer is South Point Volkswagen. Go to the website, southpointvw.com. Right now on their website, they have a tab on the flipper. Well, there's a lot of things. 2 years free maintenance on every new vehicle, which is awesome, by the way. But they also have a tab, more on the way. They have vehicles in transit right now to South Point Volkswagen. You can reserve that vehicle now before it ever gets to the lot, and you don't lose it. So go to the website, southpointvw.com, southpointvw.com, and Southwest Volkswagen in Lafayette. South Point Volkswagen, what's your direction?
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
Relentless reporting gets results.
I'm never going to stop until we get the answers you need.
Uncovering more as the powerful try to cover things up.
What happens in the dark will always come to light.
Founding new principles and practices for the state of Louisiana.
Chief Investigative Reporter Chris Nakamoto.
Chris Nakamoto and the Investigative Unit, recipients of Columbia University's prestigious DuPont Award.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Turn my music high, 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 yeah. You don't know what you're doing. Sure I do. I'm from the streets where the hood can swallow on me. Bullets will follow on me. There's so much that you could run the slalom. And cops comb this top to bottom. They say that we are prone to violence, but it's home sweet home. With personalities clashing, chrome meets chrome. Prices up and down like it's Wall Street.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all of that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust Poll of the Day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, live at lunch on Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the Poll of the Day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
This is SportsCenter. I'm Doug Brown with breaking news. ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski reports James Harden is picking up his $35.6 million option with the 76ers. It's expected, though, Harden will not play for the team again. The two sides are exploring trades. The NBA free agency period starts tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern, but ESPN's Brian Windhorst says it's not like the old days.
We don't have a marriage of players getting multiple offers. Like, the guys who are going to get multiple offers are guys like Cam Johnson.
Yep.
Like, it's not like it's been in years past where a star has had 3 choices where you can go and it's really interesting. The environment is not set up for bidding wars.
Brian Windhorst on KJ and Max. The Rockets pick up their 4th-year option on forward KJ Martin. He's coming off a breakout year, averaging almost 13 points and 6 rebounds a game. The NFL suspends 3 more players indefinitely for betting on NFL games. Isaiah Rodgers and Rashad Berry of the Colts and free agent Demetrius Taylor will miss at least the entire 2023 season. The Colts have already cut Rodgers and Berry.
If you need solid hires fast, you need Indeed. The all-in-one hiring solution makes it easy to attract, interview, and hire candidates from the same place. Want to find your next great hire? Visit Indeed.com/credit.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
That's right.
Hour 2, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. I'm Matt.
You're a loser, man.
Hey, shut up, kid. Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Alondra Villarreal. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. We're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. By the way, our guy, Mr. Toby Tomplay, whose sultry tones you hear right now, actually is the proud owner and founder of Tomplay All Day Fireworks Stand. So if you're going to be popping fireworks on the 4th of July, go see my guy on Highway 42 in Prairieville. Look for the big inflated gorilla. If you turn off airline on 42 a little ways down on the right, you can't miss. If you request, he will sing the After Further Review theme. I'm serious. He will. I'm serious. If you get home. He plays gigs, and he tells me, yeah, people request me to sing the After Further Review theme all the time. So I'm grateful. Yeah, go ahead.
That's pretty iconic. It gets stuck in my head after I'm done here.
Toby Tomplay, this is a random aside and not a reason why any of you are listening to the show right now, but Toby Tomplay actually is the king of the earworm. By the way, do you have the HUDCO jingle there, right? I think it should be on a button. If you don't,
yep, I have it.
Yeah, hit it real quick. That's Toby. That's Toby.
I had no idea.
Yeah. He's HUDCO jingle. I can't think of them all right now, but there's probably a dozen jingles for companies on this station or that you hear in this state for companies that Toby has done that are complete total earworms that you can't get out of your head. He is a master of the earworm. I can't believe he hasn't come up with a Tomplay firework jingle. He should. As good as he is at that. Figure it out, Toby. What are you doing?
Come on, Toby.
Really? You can always text the show. 225-396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. Scott Pritchard asked, Matt, does Garrett Edwards and Chase Shores pitch next year after Tommy John? What's the time frame? So, number one, I believe Garrett Edwards' LSU career is over. He is a junior, so he is draft eligible. And if he did pitch next year, it would be at the end of the season if he were able to come back. Because he suffered his Tommy John, more than a month into the season, you're looking your 12, 16-month rehab. So unlikely that Chase Shores would pitch. The general belief is Garrett Edwards, that Garrett Edwards is going to sign. Chase Shores obviously just finished, this was his freshman season. So the hope is you could get him back at some point late in the season, have something from Chase Shores, and then hope he's full go in 2025 for his junior year, maybe part of the rotation, and could have a great junior season and go be drafted. I'll say it again. The biggest name that you need to watch if you're an LSU fan is Grant Taylor. Grant Taylor missed this entire season. His Tommy John, he tore his UCL before the season, so he's on a different timeline than the others. But Grant Taylor is a draft-eligible sophomore. And before this season started, Keith Law had his top 100 prospects, and I believe Grant Taylor was 98 on the list. So you're talking about a guy who would be a top 100 prospect, would be around $1 million signing bonus. Does he go now, or does he rehab, come back, and try to pitch his way into the first round next year and maybe bet on himself, make several $1 million? That's the big one to watch. And then one other one, Jody Shiflett said, we were talking about the Manning Passing Academy, said Joe Milton sure looked good against Clemson in the bowl game. He did. He looked great. That's also a sample size. That is a one-game sample, and that's in a bowl game where droves of elite players choose not to play. So forgive me for being moderately skeptical, but I've seen Joe Milton hyped at Michigan and at Tennessee, lose his job at Michigan, lose the job at Tennessee. I just got to see it. Could he be great? Sure, he could be great. We all know he's a freak athlete. Put him in a T-shirt and shorts out at the Manning camp, and he can throw the ball 70 yards in the air. Yeah, we knew that about him. Can he go win football games? That I don't know. And so we'll wait and see. All right, it's after further review. Glad to be hanging out with us here. Every year before the season, Pro Football Focus does their position rankings. And I don't, if you listen to the show, I'm not a guy that sits here. And we make fun of oftentimes the random summertime list. We have this thing we do. It's feigned indignance from Sports Talk Radio show over random summertime lists. We just mock summertime lists. This is a little different because this isn't just like someone's opinion. These are PFF grades from last year. So it's almost like a reminder of, hey, here's how these players did a season ago. And it was interesting to me because today we saw Pro Football Focus publish their list of the top centers from a season ago. Actually, forgive me, this was a little bit ago, but they published a list of the top centers, and I ran across it today. I think maybe Saints Wire or somebody had recycled this. And it was interesting because I was scanning it, and a couple of interesting ones first and foremost. How about Ethan Posick, former LSU Tiger, who's now with the Cleveland Browns? Shout out to Ethan. He's a traction made, traction proud. Get to see Ethan working out at traction there in the offseason. They got Ethan Posick rated as the 7th best center in the entire NFL. Creed Humphrey, incidentally, from the Chiefs, number 1. My goodness, I remember Mike Detillier for 2 years lauding Creed Humphrey from Oklahoma. And it was surprising when Creed Humphrey chose to go back to school for an extra year, but he certainly panned out there in Kansas City. So Creed Humphrey 1, Jason Kelsey 2, Corey Lindsley 3, Frank Ragnow, Tyler Lindenbaum, David Andrews, and then Ethan Posick 7. And the reason Posick is even more interesting, you feel great for that guy, is Posick was drafted by Seattle, and they had him playing guard, and he just never really stuck at guard in Seattle. And as a free agent, of course, went to Cleveland. They moved him to center, and he's been fantastic, and that's primarily where he played during his time at LSU, although I believe he played all 5 positions at some point during his LSU career. Incidentally, former LSU Tiger Lloyd Cushenberry also on this list at number 26. So not great. They note that he struggled a lot as a rookie, just a 40.5 grade at Pro Football Focus. But he's gotten much better as a pass blocker throughout his career. While he's continued to struggle as a run blocker, his pass blocking last year was 13th among centers in the NFL. So much better there as Cushenberry continues to try to improve. So I was looking for Eric McCoy, and I think our general feeling on Eric McCoy is that he's been a fantastic center. Remember, the Saints drafted Eric McCoy when really out of necessity, when before the 2019 season, out of necessity, they drafted Eric McCoy. So when Max Unger suddenly retired, they were in need of a center. So they didn't have a first-round pick. Their second-round pick that year they used on McCoy and played him at center. A year later, of course, they drafted Cesar Ruiz, who was a center at Michigan, but Ruiz continued playing guard. I think you all know this story, just a refresher. Because Drew Brees came back for the 2020 season, and instead of giving Brees his third center in as many years, they kept McCoy at center, and he had played exceptionally well. So I think we've all just kind of conditioned our brains to think Eric McCoy is a great center, and he really had been. But so seeing McCoy ranked 15th, graded 15th, was surprising to me. just right smack dab in the middle of the pack. I mean, the Saints gave Eric McCoy a $60 million contract a year ago. And the write-up from Pro Football Focus says McCoy's career has been trending in the wrong direction since he posted a 78 PFF grade as a rookie. But he's still young enough that he can get things back on track, especially with his past 2 seasons disrupted by injury. And that really has been the issue with Eric McCoy. When he's been on the field, he's been very good. The problem is that he has all of a sudden sort of been bitten by the injury bug with the New Orleans Saints the last 2 seasons, as the entirety of the offensive line has for the Saints, unfortunately. At some point, they've all been injured, except this past year for Cesar Ruiz, who was surprisingly durable despite all of the flack that he gets a lot. But McCoy's an interesting one because I look at this and I go, have we been sort of unjustly hyping Eric McCoy? Again, was very good as a rookie and played in every game his first 2 seasons in the NFL. But in 2021, he missed 4 games. And in 2022, he missed 4 games. So maybe that's a part of it. I mean, when you injure your calf in the first game or second game of the season and you miss a month and try to come back, you're still not going to be certainly 100%. And maybe that's contributed to some of McCoy's issues. But then I look around at some of this ancillary evidence with McCoy and I say, are the Saints just maybe kind of preparing for the possibility that McCoy doesn't improve? Like, is it on their radar that he has been struggling a bit more than we thought? I mean, he signed a 5-year, $60 million contract before the 2022 season. So this is his second year of that deal. And the Saints do have, by the way, an out after this year. They do have an off-ramp on that contract after this year, whereby they would save, as a post-June 1 designation next year, the Saints could save $10 million against the cap with McCoy. Now, he's not slated to be a free agent until 2028, so his contract runs through 2027. But they do have an out after this season if they want to off-ramp from the Eric McCoy deal. But I really think with McCoy, it's more of a question of, can he stay healthy? And if he can he play at the level that he once did? And if not, what are your options? Remember, the Saints did not pick up Cesar Ruiz's 5th-year option. And that's something where you could look and say, is Ruiz an option at center? Remember, the Saints also, just earlier this month, added Billy Price. Billy Price is a former first-round pick who's had several stops in the NFL, but has played a ton. And that certainly feels like an insurance policy against a potential McCoy injury. I want to be very clear. I think Eric McCoy, when he's healthy, he's been magnificent. Drew Brees lauded him. And if it's good enough for Drew Brees, we should all just fall in line and be cool with it. But I think if you're an NFL franchise and you are not at least always looking at your blind spots, if you're not aware of your blind spots and you're constantly checking them, then you are negligent. I mean, you've got to be aware of the fact that maybe you gave Eric McCoy this big contract a year ago because he had been really good at the start of his career, but maybe, just maybe, he's missed games the last couple of years. Are you going down a similar path that you did with Andrews Pete, where you gave a young player that second contract and injuries and a variety of different things allowed him maybe not to play up to the standard of that contract? We all hope McCoy is fantastic and becomes an all-pro center and plays out this contract in New Orleans and finishes his career in New Orleans. I think that's what you want for every player that you draft, especially when you draft with the first pick that you have in that respective draft, which was number 48 overall for McCoy back in 2019. But I think it's at least something that needs to be put on our radar. If the Saints are going to keep adding players at that position, you see that the contract is structured such that they have an out after this year, and clearly there's metrics that suggest he hasn't been playing great and he's been injured. It's at least something that you file away and say, I'm going to watch that this year to see how it goes. Okay, it's after further review. Our Thursday shows are brought to you by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. Let me knock out a quick break. When we come back, David Fleshman is going to join us. David Fleshman is an NIL attorney here in town, actually played basketball at LSU. And I've had a chance to talk to David over the years that NIL has been live, and I want to ask him the significance of that memo the NCAA sent to member institutions this week. We'll get to that next. It's AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by River City's 1 Hour Air, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime. Told y'all just a couple of days ago, I was here during the show. Erica texted me. Our AC had gone out. The device, the panel on the wall had gone out. The AC was out. It was hot in the house. It was Erica and Drew. She called River City's 1 Hour Air within 2 hours. Inside of 2 hours from the AC going out, Britt was at our house. It pays to be part of their member club as well. You get priority scheduling. You get front of the line service. It's River City's 1 Hour Air. Britt came to our house. He was magnificent. This guy, we were talking a lot, and he said he's actually number 5 in the country, in the entire company, as far as customer service reviews. And did a great job explaining all of our options in so much detail that I didn't even want that much detail, but he was magnificent. You can trust who's coming to your house when you call River City's 1 Hour Air, just like I do. 752-0001, 752-0001, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime.
Bayou Ford has up to $7,000 off MSRP plus 0% financing on new 23 Ford F-150 XLT trucks and incredible deals on all remaining 2022 inventory. All with Bayou's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
All right, let's say ah.
Where'd my spotlight go?
Super weird.
A Monday warrior, mean strike. Today's Tom Sawyer, mean pride.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com.
Earlier this week, the NCAA sent a memo to member institutions strongly clarifying policies on NIL. David Fleshman is an attorney who has done plenty of NIL work as well, and was a guest with Pixley and I on Rosters to Riches, our NIL podcast. I wanted to bring Fleshman on to explain some of this as best he can. David, we appreciate it. How are you?
I'm well, Matt. Good to be here.
Thank you. Okay, let's start at the top. Can you give us a Cliff's Notes version of what the NCAA said in that memo to member institutions?
Yes, so it was sent out to all the different member institutions. It's about a one and a half pager, which could be 30 pages written about this to get some real clarity. But essentially, the memo was really attacking several schools' approach to NIL, and really those schools' attempt to get directly more involved with paying student athletes. So one of the largest takeaways from the memo was the NCAA's clarification that schools must adhere to the NCAA's rules, even if it conflicts with permissive state laws. So this is really a direct attempt to go at schools in Texas and a couple of other states, Oklahoma, Missouri, Arkansas. Those legislatures in those states have created some situations and some opportunities for schools to be directly involved, whereas it would directly violate NCAA rules, which the NCAA made very clear.
How would the state law violate NCAA rule?
So the Texas state law, for example, allows any 501c3 fundraising arm of an institution to directly pay student athletes. The NCAA's current and interim NIL policy prohibits institutions and their fundraising arms, anyone that's really that closely related, from directly compensating student athletes for their NIL. So it's not a direct, there's nothing in the state law that requires all of the institutions to, give benefits to donors who give money to collectives or give money to a fundraising arm. It's not required by law, but it's permissive. So those Texas institutions are taking that as a shield to say, look, we're free to now actually, compensate student athletes. And what that means is donors can give to a fundraising arm of Texas A&M, the 12th Man Plus, I think is what they call it, but they can give to that organization. That fund then directly pays student athletes, and that is it's directly contrary to what the NCAA ever intended for NIL. So it is an aggressive move by the schools in Texas to do, which I'm not sure that's surprising to anybody.
David, how is that any different than a collective paying student athletes?
Yeah, so the key difference is a collective is a completely separate organization from the institution. So the way that the NCAA, referenced that in their memo, this was, just earlier this week, was that any entity that's so closely aligned with an institution that it is viewed as an extension of the university is subject to the same NIL scrutiny as the institution and must adhere to NCAA rules and policies. So, and they specifically said even a 501c3 that's formed as a separate entity. So these collectives, I mean, you can have three collectives, form up. They're not necessarily directly closely aligned with the university. Some are more aligned than others in terms of universities saying this is our collective, this is the school's collective, but it's not run by school officials. It's not run on campus. Texas is a good example. Texas, their fundraising arm is actually within the athletic department. They don't have a separate 501c3 entity that provides funding for new stadiums and improvements to locker rooms. That's all within the athletic department. So, essentially that fundraising arm is being allowed to now compensate student athletes directly for their name, image, and likeness, whereas, LSU, doesn't have that ability, or TAF does not currently have that ability or the protection under our state law.
Attorney David Fleshman is with us. So let me follow up then. What is the benefit to a school in Texas or Missouri or some of the other states that you mentioned in having this kind of structure, as to say, why not just use a collective like everybody else? What's the advantage?
Well, I think one of the advantages that they see is that they already have established networks and fundraising success, and that donors are more comfortable giving to an organization that has a track record like that. I know that's certainly the 12th Man Foundation's approach, and I think why they wanted to do that early on. I also think that there's a lot of concern with things happening outside of campus, outside of their control. I think a lot of fundraising arms have been concerned about losing a large portion of their donations. That people, instead of giving to the 12th Man Foundation or or TAF, that they're going to just take a part of that money and either give directly to student athletes or give to a collective and not still provide the funding and the donations that they traditionally have received. So I think there's some desire to bring those together there. But I think there's obviously certain problems that can come about of that too. I mean, getting that involved in NIL can be problematic from certainly from a Title IX standpoint. I think you're going to eventually see some student athlete get pretty dissatisfied with the contract and potentially sue their fundraising arm. I mean, that's going to be an interesting thing to see when a student athlete claims that the 12th Man Plus Foundation has violated the terms of an NIL deal. So I think there's a lot of concern with schools being so directly involved in actually paying student athletes, and it's really one step closer to pay for play and employment status, which is the next big hurdle down the road.
When you and I spoke on the Roster's Richest podcast with Pixley several months back, you said something that has stuck with me, which is if anyone ever tries to cap NIL earnings, effectively, and I'm paraphrasing, the lawsuits are already drafted. So my feeling is, and you tell me if I'm wrong on that, but my feeling is that we are inevitably headed to court with NIL, and so in some respect, am I off base in assuming that there is an inevitability that we are going to end up in court in some way?
I think this is as close as we've gotten. I think this is especially since we last spoke. You typically hear about whether or not the NCAA is going to enforce, but what are they going to do? They haven't really done anything yet, and if they do, we're going to sue them. This is as close as we've come to a potential lawsuit that I've seen, and it seems the way that Texas schools, particularly Texas A&M, the way that they seem to be playing it is they're inviting that challenge. I know Miami's had a booster over there that certainly seems to be inviting the challenge as well, but we haven't seen it yet. But I think I do think anytime you're restricting student athletes' ability to profit from their name, image, and likeness, I think there's a potential lawsuit, especially as state laws now allow them to do that.
I got a couple more for you. Back to the issue at hand. So the NCAA says, hey, we have rules, and I don't care what your state law says. If you violate our rule, we're going to punish you. And Ross Bjork from A&M has said, we're siding with state law. Okay. So what can the NCAA do?
Yeah, so it's an interesting question. I think that the key difference is, permissive state law versus, mandatory state law. So, Texas A&M is not required by their state law to, not compensate student athletes. I mean, they're not mandated to compensate their student athletes.
Right.
So they have a choice. They're allowed to, they're authorized to by state law, but if they do, they're going to be in violation of the NCAA's rules. The NCAA, which, this is very different than the situation we saw when states started passing laws that allowed student athletes to profit from their name, image, and likeness. Those statutes specifically restricted schools in those states from preventing student athletes from doing that. So in that situation that we were facing July 1st, 2021, schools were really faced with a decision of, well, do I violate state law by preventing it so that I can follow NCAA rules, or do I follow state law and violate the NCAA rules? I don't think that's the situation that we have here. I think it's a much more aggressive stance to say we're going to follow a permissive state law. Not every school in Texas is doing this. It's not required for every school in Texas to do this. So, it's not as much of a direct conflict, although it's certainly being, treated that way. And the way that if Texas A&M and the other schools continue to, view their laws as a pretty strong shield, I think we're going to have a direct conflict. But Matt, it's always worth reminding. NCAA is it's a voluntary membership, organization and association. So, one of the key rules is that the institutions come together. They're the ones making the rules. They're the ones in committees of the institutions are making rules, and they all agree to abide by those rules. And so what you see now is you have legislatures now dictating rules, and that's fueled by the institutions in that state. But instead of trying to fix the problem within the NCAA, which is what the NCAA would like, they're going to their legislatures, and I think it's not ideal. That's certainly not a way to resolve it when you have now multiple states with multiple different laws.
Can Congress fix it?
Oh, I would hate, I don't want to be on record saying Congress can fix a whole lot of anything. But I do think, I don't have a lot of faith at Congress. I know some out there do. I do not. The way that I see this, I think this is going to be pushed down to conferences. I do think that the SEC would have the ability to potentially regulate this and to call for a uniform NIL law to be passed in the states that the conference schools reside in. I think that's a much more manageable solution. Breaking it down on a smaller scale. But interestingly, Texas law would also prohibits a conference from enforcing its rules. So that's an interesting dynamic.
Why can't we all, why do we need laws? Why can't we just do what the NCAA says?
Yeah, and look, the laws are an interesting thing. I think we talked about a little bit on the podcast. So what? What's the enforcement mechanism? I mean, it's unclear, certainly under Louisiana law, but most of the states that have an NIL law don't set forth violations, or penalties for violations of the law. So, I think that's, what are we even talking about? This is NIL is a positive move. It is good for student athletes to have the ability to profit from their name, image, and likeness like everyone else on campus. It is not designed to be a recruiting inducement. It is not designed for boosters to now go out and start dangling NIL money. This is about the student athlete's popularity, their following. There's a lot of positive. This is an example of where some negative feelings start to come in and the posturing. I mean, we're really in a high stakes game of chicken right now between the NCAA and state legislature.
He is David Fleshman, does a great job, NIL attorney, and of course, member of LSU's Final Four team back in 2006. Did we score points in that season?
No, we did not. We did not. But that's not what's important, Matt.
Hey,
that's not what.
You were on the Final Four team. You were, you're on the Final Four team, right? That is not a slight in any way.
The only difference, I just had a little better of a seat than most people.
Much better seat.
Matt, I've enjoyed the podcast that you and Pix do. It's very enlightening, and I just enjoy the conversation, the different take. It's really well done.
Thanks, man. What do you hear the episode with Will Clark? Suffice to say, Will Clark is not a fan of my opinion of NIL or the transfer portal, and he let that be known in no uncertain terms.
Well, that's so he fits in Pixley's category, and Coach Brady. So he falls in that category.
Nailed it. Hey, man, we appreciate it. Thanks for the time.
Thanks, Matt. Appreciate it.
All right, that is David Fleshman, attorney David Fleshman, helping us flesh out some of the NIL conversation. We're brought to you by Michelli Weighing and Measurement, Michelli.com. Michelli.com, 30 different offices across 11 different states. It's Michelli Weighing and Measurement. I mention all that Michelli does all the time. You hear me say if you weigh or measure something, they'll sell, service, rent the products you use to weigh and measure. Maybe you're looking for a career instead of a job. Go to Michelli.com, hit the careers tab right at the top, and you can see how you can start your career with an innovative company primed for growth that's been around already for 76 years. Maybe it's here in Louisiana. Maybe it's in Texas. Maybe it's Florida, California, or Oregon. There's tons of opportunities all over the country to work with Michelli. Go to Michelli.com. You can apply today. You can see all the jobs that they have open. And if you are a veteran as well, they've got a great program for veteran careers. Even if you are already back into civilian life, if you're still active duty, you can apply online at Michelli.com, Michelli.com. For Michelli Weighing and Measurement, that's Michelli.com. Okay, it's after further review. Shea Dixon's going to be with us at the top of hour number 3. We'll talk a little LSU football, some recruiting stuff as well. Let me knock out a quick break. Yesterday, we went over a CBS Sports MLB mock draft. Draft is 10 days away. Keith Law with The Athletic dropped his mock draft today. We'll get to that next here on AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. Do business with someone you know. Got a message today from a buddy in Albany. Got hammered with hail needed a roof inspection. You know we did. Said, come on out. HUDCO Roofing, HUDCOroofing.com. If you are in West Baton Rouge or places like Riverbend that got hammered with that hailstorm a week ago, if your insurance adjuster has already come out and you have your scope of work, some of you may even have a check already from your insurance company. We have shingles. We have crews ready to roll. We can roof your home tomorrow. Let us know. We'd love to help. HUDCO Roofing and HUDCOroofing.com. Do business with someone you know, a local company, a Louisiana company with Louisiana employees using Louisiana-made products. That's us, HUDCO Roofing. I tell you every day, do business with someone you know. Hey, if you hire a fly-by-night company, where are they going to be in a year, 2 years, 5 years? You know where I'm going to be. I'm going to be sitting right here. You can always email me, matt@HUDCOroofing.com. Do business with someone you know. That's HUDCO Roofing. HUDCO Roofing and HUDCOroofing.com.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com.
While LSU continues to admire the shine of a sparkly new national championship trophy, this team's about to get gutted. The draft is 10 days away, and Jay Johnson, as he starts looking toward 2024, will obviously have a keen eye on this upcoming draft. Yesterday, we shared a mock draft with you from CBS Sports. Today, Keith Law, one of the more respected MLB draft writers, put out his mock draft, for whatever it's worth. CBS Sports yesterday in their mock draft had Dylan Cruz going number 1 to the Pittsburgh Pirates. Keith Law today has Paul Skenes going number 1 to the Pittsburgh Pirates. So there is hardly a consensus as to which LSU player is going to go number 1 overall. We did mention, by the way, for whatever it's worth, as you might imagine, Keith Law does have Dylan Cruz going number 2 overall to the Washington Nationals. So that seems to be the consensus, is Skenes, Cruz, Cruz, Skenes, however it may go. That's who everybody has going 1-2 in this draft. The one thing that I mentioned yesterday that I'll continue to throw out, which is at least something worth filing away and keeping an eye on, is if Skenes and Cruz each have a number in their mind, and Pittsburgh, which is a notoriously cheap organization, wants to sign someone for under slot value, maybe they go to Wyatt Langford and say, hey, slot value with this pick is $9.8 million. Would you take 8-9? We'd knock $1 million off of it. Would you take it to be the number 1 pick? And he might say, yeah. So we don't know, but that's something that always could happen. For whatever it's worth, Keith Law does have Wyatt Langford going 3 to Detroit. So a couple of things that stood out. Skenes, Cruz, Skenes. That's going to be number 1, 2 at everybody's top of the mock draft. Pick however you want it to fall, however you want to pick it. Do you prefer the pitcher? Do you prefer the position player? Traditionally, the position player goes higher than the pitcher because the pitcher pitches every 5th day and you have a larger injury risk. It's what it is. We'll see what the Pirates do. What's interesting about this mock draft is there's, of course, a ton of SEC players. Jacob Gonzalez, a shortstop from Ole Miss, they have going 5th in this draft. Keith Law does. As you would expect, there's always really good high school players in the draft. But the other thing that stood out to me so much is it was such a key validator of what LSU just did in the College World Series. Like Rhett Lauder, who went up against Paul Skenes in that game last Thursday, a week ago today. Rhett Lauder, he is going number 9 overall to the Colorado Rockies. So you have them projected to be the number 1 and number 9 picks in this draft. We're going against each other in that game a week ago today. Chase Dolander, who LSU beat in the College World Series as well. They got Chase Dolander. No, forgive me, Dolander pitched game 2. But Chase Dolander, who LSU beat in the regular season, he's going 11 overall to the Los Angeles Angels. So the number 9 and 11 picks in the draft, LSU faced. Enrique Bradfield of Vanderbilt, 13. The guy that LSU faced in the championship game, the College World Series, Hurston Waldrop, 15 overall to the Chicago White Sox. I mean, when you start to really think in context of what LSU did in Omaha, the teams they beat, the arms that they beat, the arms that they faced, it also is a great illustration of why it was really hard to come by runs in this College World Series until the last 2 games. Oh, by the way, you want to talk about how impressive it was for LSU to beat Wake Forest twice. Brock Wilken, the All-American third baseman. Brock Wilken, 24 overall to Paulie's Bravos. There you go, Paulie. Get your third baseman there with Brock Wilken. We'll see if he stays there, but I think you get the point. But maybe the most interesting part of the entire mock draft, which I didn't expect to see, but was pleasantly surprised, Keith Law mocks 28th overall to the Houston Astros. Ty Floyd, right-handed pitcher from LSU. Keith Law writes, nobody helped himself more in Omaha than Floyd, who showed that he could go through some of the best lineups in college baseball with his unhittable fastball. He goes on to talk about how the Astros, linked to him with GM Dana Brown overseeing the draft in Atlanta when they took Spencer Strider with a similar fastball. Anyway, you can go all through it. You can go through the scouting report and everything. But Ty Floyd going 28 overall in Keith Law's mock draft is the realization of talent that was evident in his freshman year, but also validation and the reason why guys should go to school. For whatever it's worth, at the beginning of this month, Keith Law had updated his, beginning of June, he had updated his top 100 prospects in this draft. He had Cruz 1, Wyatt Langford 2, and Paul Skenes 3. So that wasn't a mock draft. This was just his ranking of the top prospects. Just to show the benefit of going to Omaha and playing the way that he did for Ty Floyd. Keith Law had Ty Floyd in his top 100 prospects. He had him number 100 on his list. So a month ago, Keith Law had Ty Floyd as the 100th best player in this draft. Today, he's got him as the 28th overall pick. And one of the names that you've heard me say over and over and over again, it's going to be the most important decision and the guy worth keeping an eye on the most, is Grant Taylor. And again, having not pitched at all this year, Keith Law has Grant Taylor rated as the 93rd best prospect in this draft. Remember, Grant Taylor did not throw a pitch this year. He's a draft-eligible sophomore. 6'3", 230, played last year as a freshman, sometime in the rotation, sometime in the bullpen. But he's got Grant Taylor going as the 93rd best prospect in this draft. If you're wondering, the slot value, let's just say Grant Taylor goes number 93 overall. The slot value for the 93rd pick is $725K. So that's sort of validating to what we talked about yesterday. The conversation I had over this weekend was Taylor is slotted. Yeah, I said, how much would Grant Taylor be offered this year to sign? He said, I was told somewhere in the neighborhood of $750,000, $800K, somewhere around there. So if you're Grant Taylor, this is your decision. I'm going to keep saying this because this is going to be the most important one for LSU to watch. Like, Jordan Thompson signing, Trey Morgan signing. Well, of course, Skenes and Cruz, Ty Floyd, they're all gone. All those guys are gone. The most important one to watch is Grant Taylor because he could be in your rotation next year, or coming off of Tommy John, he could say, I'm going to take the money now and go continue rehabbing in a professional organization and start my pro career. Or he could come back to LSU because he didn't pitch at all this season. His recovery, his rehab is further along than guys like Shores and Edwards. Could he come back to LSU and say, I'm going to give it a go to see if I can become a first-round pick like Ty Floyd, who, by the way, if Floyd does end up 28th overall, slot value for the Houston Astros at 28 overall is $2.88 million. So consider Ty Floyd, where Keith Law had him as a prospect, 100 overall. You're talking $750,000. Bets on himself, has a great year, great Omaha, potential first-round draft pick, where you're talking about a $2.8 million slot value. I mean, he put a 4X multiple on what he was worth a month ago because of his performance in Omaha. That's impressive. File it away. Again, we're going to keep our eye on Grant Taylor. That's one certainly worth watching. We'll keep looking at all these mock drafts and projections as we get closer to the draft, which is now 10 days out. All right, it's after further review. Let me knock out a quick break. We'll come back. Alondra will do Tigers in the Pros. Shea Dixon in about 15 minutes. Don't you move.
AFR.
Brought to you by the Renaissance Hotel in Baton Rouge, right there on Bluebonnet near I-10. Look, directions anywhere in Baton Rouge starts with, all right, get on I-10. Well, you know where I-10 and Bluebonnet is. The mall's right there. Really just across from the mall, a little ways down, is where the Renaissance Hotel is. It's a gorgeous hotel property. There's nothing like it in Southtown of Baton Rouge, right there on Bluebonnet. It's the Renaissance Hotel. Unique dining, or unique guest rooms. Every Renaissance Hotel, that is a literal word. Every Renaissance Hotel is unique to that market. So you will not see a Renaissance Hotel like the one in Baton Rouge anywhere else in the country or the world. Look at the beautiful sculpture behind the front desk. That is a 2-scale rendering of the Mississippi River and all of its tributaries. It's the Renaissance Hotel. Wedding reception, fundraiser, corporate board meetings, whatever event you need to host and you're looking to host, the Renaissance Hotel can help. They're in the business of saying yes. That's at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet. The Renaissance Hotel.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
The importance of doing this Fortified program and offering it to people down here is number one, the only real chance you're going to get to do this is when you put on a new roof or build new. And through companies like HUDCO, who's kind of leading the way in this thing, it's going to offer the customers a huge advantage in the insurance market and the price of their insurance.
You know, we're not looking to make a fortune off fortifying. We're trying to give you a better product than our competitor at the moment. I'm trying to do something that he can. I'm trying to give you something better. So a lot of these insurance shops, you're getting a re-roof, you're only paying your deductible. Let's sit down and talk about the Fortified and let's see what it does to your insurance premium. You're getting a steal.
Yeah.
You're getting a brand new roof and a Fortified certificate for your deductible, essentially. I think we're rocking and rolling.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
The best kept secret.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com.
All right, wrapping up hour number 2, Alondra has Tigers in the Pros.
Tigers in the Pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now. Presented by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, where Baton Rouge gets engaged.
All right, Alex Bregman went 0 for 4 last night with 2 walks and a run in the Astros' 10-7 win over the Cardinals. Jake Fraley had a good game last night, going 2 for 3 with 2 RBIs. Reds get the win over the Orioles 11-7. And DJ LeMahieu is, let's see, hold on. Give me 1 second.
Got it? There it is.
Hey.
We got to take down Tigers on acid.
Yeah.
So, there you go.
There we go.
There it is.
Okay. DJ LeMahieu, he went 1 for 5 last night and had a run in the Yankees win over the A's 11-0.
Also significant about the Yankees win over the A's yesterday, Domingo Germán threw a perfect game.
Let's go.
Shout out.
He wasn't a Tiger, so I didn't put that in there.
No, that's fine.
Yeah. Aaron Nola pitched 5 innings last night. 4 strikeouts, 3 walks, gave up 4 earned runs and 7 hits. 8-5, Phillies get the win there, though. Josh Smith went 1 for 1 versus the Tigers last night with 1 hit and 1 run, and the Rangers beat Detroit 10-2.
Wait, you have to do a stats over because I yelled Calakai over you.
Okay.
So you have to give me space to yell Calakai and then jump in with the stats. So here we go.
Okay. Josh Smith went 1 for 1 versus the Tigers last night with 1 hit and one run. Rangers get the win over Detroit 10-2. That's Tigers in the Pros.
Did Alex Lang throw in that game last night?
He did not. Yeah. I would have put that in there if he did. Yeah. I know.
Just making sure.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
Presented by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. LMFJ.com. LMFJ.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, where Baton Rouge and all of Louisiana has gone to get engaged for more than 30 years. It's Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Baton Rouge, a couple of locations. Lafayette on Ambassador Caffrey. Shreveport, New Orleans, a couple of Texas locations as well. It's Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. LMFJ.com. LMFJ.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. All right, y'all, it is After Further Review. We are glad to have you hanging out with us here. Been a really good show. Excited to have Shea Dixon jumping aboard coming up after the top of the hour. Tigers expecting some recruiting news in the next 24 hours. So we'll talk about that a little bit with our guy Shady. And also, Shea was down at the Manning Passing Academy. I want his take on what he saw from the LSU quarterbacks that were down there. We're glad you're hanging out with us here on a Thursday edition of AFR presented by the Williamson Eye Center, WilliamsonEYE.com. Call 924-2020. 924-2020. If you want to see 2020, call 924-2020 for the Williamson Eye Center. I encourage you all the time. Eye care, eyewear, eye surgery, annual eye exam. You need those contacts or glasses, or you want to rid yourself of contacts and glasses forever, call Dr. Blake Williamson. Simply the best at the Williamson Eye Center. I trust him. You should as well. It's the Williamson Eye Center, 924-2020.
AFR.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Relentless reporting gets results.
I'm never going to stop until we get the answers you need.
Uncovering more as the powerful try to cover things up.
What happens in the dark will always come to light.
Founding new principles and practices for the state of Louisiana.
Chief Investigative Reporter Chris Nakamoto.
Chris Nakamoto and the Investigative Unit. Recipients of Columbia University's prestigious DuPont Award.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $25,000 off new 22 Ram 1500 SCA trucks and incredible deals on all remaining 2022 inventory, all with Bayou's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all of that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Doug Brown with breaking news. ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski reports the Rockets will now be listening to trade offers for James Harden after Harden picks up his $35.6 million player option for next season. NBA free agency now 24 hours away, and Woj says the Knicks could be very active next year.
I think New York's doing the right thing by waiting, maybe not going after the B-level player, and say the A-level player is going to become available. Is it early in the season? Is it the trade deadline? Is it next summer? And they're going to be in position to do something.
Woj on KJ and Max. 3 NFL players are suspended for at least a year for betting on league games. Isaiah Rodgers and Rashad Berry immediately cut by the Colts today. Demetrius Taylor was already a free agent. Meanwhile, Titans offensive lineman Nicholas Petit-Frere gets a 6-game suspension for betting on other sports at the team facility. Also, Jaguars lineman Cam Robinson, 4-game suspension for PEDs.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Progressive can help you protect your home, auto, boat, motorcycle, ATV, and RV, and more. And if something wasn't mentioned that you had in mind, find out if it can be covered at Progressive.com or 1-800-PROGRESSIVE, because it probably can be.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
That's right.
Hour 3 off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. I'm Matt.
Love you, Matt.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Alondra Villarreal. And Mr. Toby Tomplin. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. 5 o'clock quitting time. Glad you're driving home with us. Thank you. Manning camp was this past weekend, and we weren't there. We were following LSU's path to a national championship. Shea Dixon was there, however, and he's good enough to join us here. Shea, how are you, man?
I'm doing well. I did both. I did Manning and then just went to Omaha from there.
When were you in Omaha?
After game 1. So I got there, landed, pretty much went in straight to that game 2 beat down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you stayed for Monday, yes?
Stayed for Monday. There you go. So that wasn't the only experience.
Yes. I don't know if you heard this, but our friend Taylor Calandro, who joins us Wednesdays and talks about booze here, he and his dad woke up at 2 o'clock in the morning on Sunday, went to the airport, flew to Kansas City, rented a car, drove 2 hours to Omaha, slept none, sat in the sun, and watched LSU lose 24-4. And amidst their delirium, decided, yeah, we're done, and they just came back and missed Monday.
The only thing you're going to blame that on there is the sun got. If you weren't ever in the shade, it was beating down on you in that mid-afternoon game. So that could have been it. But at some point on the drive back, you wake up and realize, hold on, let's turn back around.
Go take a nap, sleep it off, wake up Monday and go do it again, rally a little bit. You know what I mean? To just leave. It's oh my God, that was a miserable 24 hours. I'm glad you got to see more than just the blowout, though, Shea. That's good news. Hey, okay, let's go back to Thibodeau, talk about the Manning camp a little bit. How did they do? How did the LSU guys do? How did Daniels and Nussmeier do?
I think I've talked about this a couple different times with different folks, and a lot of people ask about national stuff in addition to LSU's guys, but this group of people listening to your show know exactly what both those guys need to do this offseason to clean up their game, and it's almost like the yin and the yang, right? Daniels, it was have a little bit more of the gunslinger, have the more explosive passing, and throw it downfield a bit more. And he talked at the Manning camp and a lot this spring about really working on that, and he felt like in the spring game it showed a bit. He thought he showed it in some practices at Ropen, extended to the media, but down there when they got into throwing competitions, and I'm watching him next to a number of the SEC's best quarterbacks, a lot of the, country's best quarterbacks, minus Caleb Williams, a lot of the high draft pick, guys are moving up quarterback big boards were there. And not only does Daniels belong, but his deep ball was really good. I mean, he was right on the money when it came to a number of the throws he had, kind of working from his own 30 and then having receivers and golf carts and all that, just stretch downfield and see what you can hit. And he was in the upper echelon of guys. So I thought that was a good sign. And then on the flip side, I thought that Garrett Nussmeier looked like one of the better short and intermediate guys that was out there. He was consistent, clean in his deliveries, and that's what you wanted to see. We know he can go out there and do what he did in the second half of the Georgia game and just light it up and throw it down the field. But can you do everything else that comes with kind of shedding a little bit of that gunslinger mentality? And he seems to have taken that seriously this offseason. Both guys have put on some weight, some muscle. I'm hard-pressed to believe that there's a quarterback room out there that's got a better 1-2 punch, at least in terms of guys you'd be confident in saying, okay, they will. If I had to play them this year, I don't lose much sleep over, going one to the next.
Elaborate a little bit more on Nussmeier and the job he did, and what you could tell that he did well.
Well, I saw that LSU put out that he got Freak of the Week by the strength and conditioning staff, which I'll back up. I mean, he has bulked up a good bit in both the lower and upper half, and I think it is just about working through, like the Southern game, obviously not remember that, when he was, getting tackled and underhanding throws to the Southern guy to pick six it. Like, that's not ever going to work when you get in there and they're trusting you to be the starter. And I think Joe Sloan and Den Brock and Brian Kelly have probably all drilled that in him enough. And probably he's told himself enough of, hey, look, if I really am ready to take this next step, I've got to reel in all of that. And I think he did. And when we saw him later in the season, that wasn't part of the game that jumped out at you. It was, whoa, there's the arm talent. Whoa, there's some good decision-making. Whether it was the bowl game or that second half in Georgia, I think he's really dialed in on that this offseason. So just from talking to him down there, talking to him a little bit at summer camps when he was out there with the recruits, I felt like that kind of was the big thing he talked about was, hey, I'm working on all aspects of my game right now. I'm hearing what the coaching staff's saying. And for him, that's going to set him up really well to get some playing time whenever it comes.
I'm glad you mentioned that, Shea, because, usually when spring football comes around, it's such a short time from the end of the season to spring that it's kind of unrealistic to think you're going to see this giant noticeable or material difference in any of the players, right? It's a good opportunity for guys who are going to be first-time starters to get reps and things like that. But now when you're, 7 months removed from the end of the season, you should see progress with these guys. So you mentioned Garrett bulking up a little bit. Did you notice anything materially different about Jayden out there, albeit not in pads or anything like that? But was there anything that looked different?
I think that, well, one, physically, but we saw it some this spring. I think when they weren't in pads, I could really notice it in Nussmeier. But we saw that Jayden had bulked up a good bit. Brian Kelly had already gone on record talking about it. Jayden's talked about it. That was something they wanted to do. Hey, if you're not only going to get sacked in the SEC, but if you want to lead the SEC in rushing for a quarterback, you got to be able to take some of these hits, and not get injured, basically plain and simple. So I think he took that seriously. I think what I can tell about Jayden now, and from talking to him at Manning, this really stood out, is that this time a year ago, I think he was not in his head, but he was going through the reality of, I'm on a new team with a new head coach, the new offensive coordinator, with a bunch of receivers I don't know, and an offensive line I've never played behind, and I'm getting adjusted just like everybody else, except I've got 3 years of starting reps under me. That how does it translate? How does that Arizona State go to LSU? And I think you saw him make a really big jump from where he was at Arizona State to how he played a year ago, so much so that many people are calling him the best returning quarterback in the SEC, and I think he makes a very strong case for that. Whenever I asked him about that at Manning, he said, yeah, now I kind of feel like I'm back on track to where I should have been. Like, I left high school as a number one dual threat quarterback in the country. I signed with Arizona State because I saw a chance at early playing time. I started every game for 3 straight years. now I've made this jump to LSU where I was kind of playing from behind. And even though he had a good season, they win the West, but there were still parts of his game he wanted to see grow. And I could tell that's tough to do when you're with a whole new program and a whole new coordinator and doing all these different things with a new quarterbacks coach who's teaching you how to do things differently than you had done before. And he said this offseason is so much easier because he knew everything. He knows the playbook. He knows what they want from him. He knows the receivers really well. He doesn't have to win the team over, any of that. It was just about fixing these parts of your game to help out the team. And I think he could tell you that made it a lot easier on him. And now it's kind of put him in a position where, yes, you are maybe the conference's top returning, quarterback. Mm-hmm. Maybe you are one of the best quarterbacks in the country. And that's probably the vision that Daniels had when he decided to come to LSU. It just took him an extra year of deciding to return and pass up on the NFL for that to happen.
Shea Dixon on 3, the Bengal Tiger. You mentioned that you could make a case that Jayden is the best quarterback in the SEC. I would make that case. As a matter of fact, earlier in the show today, I did. Who else stood out this week?
I think that Joe Milton stands out. I don't know if you'd consider him a returning quarterback, considered him and Hooker played for Tennessee all last year and then got injured, obviously. But Joe Milton is not the same quarterback that he was at Michigan when he left a number of years back, and he's got an absolute cannon for an arm. Sorry, we've got some dogs chirping in there.
That's real life, bro.
Cannon for, that's real life. He's got a cannon for an arm. He put on a show a lot like Anthony Richardson did a year ago, Matt, at the Manning Academy, where everybody saw he could flick it 70 yards with the flick of a wrist, and he's athletic. It's just one of those things where, okay, you feel good about him because you know how good the Tennessee offense is. And if he kind of seamlessly fits into that, I think that people in Knoxville are going to be pretty excited about it. And then I thought Devin Leary, who's played at NC State and then got injured, but now transferred to Kentucky, is healthy again, and he looks like one of the better quarterbacks to me. So those are two guys SEC-wise that I thought looked pretty good.
Hey, Shea, before you go, we got some recruiting news on the horizon for Brian Kelly. They had a couple of decommitments over the weekend, but trending more toward the right direction potentially?
Yeah, they're at 17 commits right now. That's right at a top 10 class. I don't ever judge any of this when we're 6 and 7, 8 months out from signing day, but they do on Friday have an announcement coming, or an announcement is coming from Ethan Callaway, who's a top 10 offensive tackle out of North Carolina. LSU was actually his first offer. Then he blew up big time. Now he's one of the most coveted guys out there in the country. And I think he's going to pick between LSU, Penn State, Florida, Georgia. He may have in-state North Carolina hat out there on the table, but LSU got his final official visit. They've gotten a ton of visits from him over the past year. And again, I think this is a kid who could wind up being a top 50 prospect maybe as an offensive tackle. If you're stacking those up with Will Campbell and Emory Jones, and then Zaylon's Hurd, and now in this class you can grab another. Offensive line recruiting is really taken off, and it makes you feel good about what Brad Davis and Brian Kelly can do together, because certainly, Matt, we know what Brian Kelly can do. He can pick out offensive linemen and develop them. Brad Davis recruiting them, that combo, and then getting them in here and coaching them up seems to be paying off so far. I like what they're doing a good bit.
Shea Dixon on 3, the Bengal Tiger. He's on Twitter at Shea Dixon. Has some really good video on his Twitter as well, by the way, from the Manning camp. If you want to go check it out, he's at Shea Dixon. Thank you, dude. We appreciate it as always, man.
Yeah, Shea Dixon, his dogs, and the UPS man. So I appreciate that.
that is Thibodeau to Omaha Traveler, Shea Dixon, his dog, and the UPS man. Thank you, Shea.
All right, guys. Thanks, Matt.
All right, we'll see you. That's Shea Dixon. This is After Further Review. We'll continue here on AFR next.
AFR.
Brought to you by Darren James and Associates, brokered by eXp Realty. Every home listed in every company all in one place. Agent225.com. I tell you all the time about Darren James and what differentiates him. How about videos to sell his home? How about this one? This property, Old River Road in Denham Springs, gorgeous. 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, 2,300 square feet. It's on 4.2 acres with a barn with a guest suite. These aren't just still shots. This is a video that Darren and his team did of the entire house through the home. It's gorgeous, beautiful farmhouse on all this land. Check it out at agent225.com or on Darren's Facebook page. It did not flood as well. It was built in 2017. The land didn't flood. Check it out at agent225.com or follow Darren on all the social media. If you need to sell your home, you need the realtor that sells more homes than anyone and is going to give you an exceptional customer service experience. That's Darren James. Agent225.com. agent225.com.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust Poll of the Day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, live at lunch on Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the Poll of the Day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
Bayou Ford has up to $7,000 off MSRP plus 0% financing on new 23 Ford F-150 XLT trucks and incredible deals on all remaining 2022 inventory. All with Bayou's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Hello, Samantha, dear, I hope you're feeling fine. And it won't be long until I'm with you all the time. But until then, I spend my money up right down on my last dime. Come on, in Baton Rouge. I'm ready, what you put me on through. Gotta send my love down the
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all of that. I got you.
Pop, pop.
What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a
$64400 396-4400. Kent Wells asked a question about LSU baseball. I said, Matt, I hadn't heard anyone ask this, but how will Wes Johnson going to Georgia affect LSU picking up pitchers in the transfer portal? Well, I mean, it's a good question. It's a valid question. But there's two things that I would say that might argue to the contrary, or that to suggest that it would. Number one is LSU's already gotten two pitchers out of the transfer portal. They got Justin Lohr, the lefty from Xavier, who I think everyone is really excited about, and who, I mean, could very well who could very well end up as part of LSU's rotation next year. And then Cade Woods from Alabama, the reliever, who's the strong-armed righty. LSU's already picked up two pitchers out of the portal since Wes Johnson's already announced he's leaving. So I don't know that I make much of it. There was another question that had been asked about, could LSU pitchers potentially follow Wes Johnson to Georgia? And I think there's a possibility that could happen if there are guys really down on the depth chart, the pecking order, that don't see a path to the mound for significant action this year as Wes Johnson sort of rebuilding things at Georgia, could you see players follow him? I think that is sort of a natural assumption. I mean, we saw that a year ago when Jay Johnson lost members of his first staff. Obviously, Jason Kelly went to University of Washington. They lost another assistant, Dallas Baptist. So, yeah, I mean, I think that's Kansas. I think that could certainly happen. But you're talking more about players that would be down the depth chart. I just kind of trust Jay Johnson. I mean, they got Paul Skenes last year before he had hired Wes Johnson to be the pitching coach. So, my sort of understanding of how Jay is approaching this, I think he is going to very candidly, as he's recruiting players, tell them what he's thinking as far as a pitching coach and who it might be. But at the same time, my understanding is that Jay Johnson is focusing far more on recruiting right now than he is hiring a pitching coach. Because you have got to sprint right now as players that you may covet get into the portal. You got to go. So it's not to say that he's not going to hire a pitching coach soon. I mean, that could happen any day, any time. They could announce it. And I've told you before, my feeling is Nate Yeske from Texas A&M is probably at the top of the list. He was at Arizona with Jay, and that could still ultimately be the guy that he hires. The other guys I've told you, Corey Moscona, who's the pitching coach at Wake Forest, but that's not likely to happen, as he seems to be the guy that's going to be the heir apparent to Tom Walter to be the head coach at Wake. And the other was Robert Woodard, who's the head coach at Charlotte. And the reason that would be appealing for a guy like Woodard to leave a head coaching job is look at LSU's last two pitching coaches. They've gotten the head coaching jobs after 1 year at Washington and Georgia. As odd as it is, Power 5 schools tend to hire Power 5 assistants rather than smaller school head coaches. I know that sounds odd, but that there is evidence to suggest that is the case and how it plays out. So just a couple names to keep an eye on. And was also told that Jay has not ruled out the possibility of hiring from the pro ranks again this year. So just something to file away. But no, I don't think Wes Johnson leaving is going to negatively affect LSU's ability to recruit this year. If anything, I think there might be guys on this team who weren't maybe going to see a ton of playing time who might follow him there. That could certainly be a possibility. Okay, it's after further review. Love having you hang out with us here. We're brought to you by Shawbills Tire and Auto Service. Shawbillstire.com. Shawbillstire.com. I actually had somebody tell me yesterday they love when me and Terrio do the Shawbills reads. It's funny. But we do like to have fun with it, and Shawbills is cool enough to let us have fun with it. But the thing about Shawbills is, man, a family-owned business, has been for more than 50 years since they opened their doors in 1968. 55 years now. At Shawbills, they always say, we keep you rolling. You go to ShawBillsTire.com. You can read about Charlie's Dozen. That's a dozen benefits extended to you and every vehicle in your family when you buy your tires at Shawbills. Name brand tires, wholesale prices. I mean, you're going to get the best tires on the road at the cheapest price. They're going to treat you like family. I actually like going to Shawbills. I like going to sitting there because I get worked on at Shawbills. I mean, there's free Wi-Fi. There's clean coffee station, clean waiting room. They got flat screen TVs. I mean, I get work done when I'm at Shawbills. It's Shawbills Tire and Auto Service. ShawBillsTire.com. Shawbills. We keep you rolling. The NFL has announced start dates for training camp. If you missed it earlier today, we did talk a little bit about Eric McCoy in hour number 2. If you want to catch that on demand, AFR on demand presented by Breck Golf. Book your tee time, golf.breck.org, golf.breck.org. Saints training camp will begin July 18th. That's incredible. No, I'm sorry, forgive me. The rookies will report on July 18th. That's the Tuesday of SEC Media Day. So that's 2 weeks from this coming Tuesday. We're 19 days away from that. So we're less than 3 weeks away from rookies reporting for training camp. And then 1 week later, on July 25th, the veterans report. So a veterans report, and it's incredible. So on Tuesday, when you're celebrating 4th of July, just understand that you are 2 weeks from training camp. It's incredible. When you're celebrating 4th of July, you will be 2 weeks from Saints training camp. I couldn't be more fired up for it and to see what this Saints team is going to look like as they all come together with some incredible storylines. Obviously, there's the Derek Carr storyline, which has dominated a lot of headlines in this offseason with New Orleans. And what is it going to look like with a new trigger man, a guy that you hope drinks from the fountain of youth and can maximize whatever his pro career is going to be. I think the wide receiver and defensive back battles in this training camp are going to be fascinating to watch because you have so many numbers at those two positions and very few certainties. Now, we know Marshawn Lattimore is a certainty. We know guys like Alante Taylor and Paulson Adebo are going to make this team. That's not a question. Where does Bradley Roby fit in? What about some of the younger guys that you signed? Where's your depth at safety? I think that's going to be fascinating to watch. And at receiver, I mean, Chris Olave's got a job. What is Michael Thomas going to be? Does Rashid Shaheed build on last year? What about some of the guys you brought in like Brian Edwards, a veteran like Traquan Smith still hanging around? All the young guys who just keep hanging around this organization trying to wait for their breakthrough. Guys like Kirk Barrett. What is that going to look like for New Orleans this year? Those camp battles to me are going to be fascinating to watch. And, of course, a completely remade defensive line. I mean, you watch your top 3 interior linemen from a year ago, or your top 2 interior linemen, and, of course, Marcus Davenport, all leaving free agency. You have a remade defensive line with including Brian Brzee and Isaiah Foskey, a couple of rookies that people are very high on and justifiably so. There are going to be so many interesting training camp storylines for these New Orleans Saints, and we are just over 2 weeks away from it, and I'm fired up for this. If you're wondering, the odds for the Saints this year as we creep closer to training camp, their win total is still projected at 9.5. So, can the Saints be a double-digit win team? That's a really bizarre thing about the Saints, is because they are just so clearly the favorite in their division, but you're still looking at them at, by the way, their odds to make the playoffs, they're minus 175 to make the playoffs. So the Saints are a betting odd favorite to make the playoffs because they're going to win a bad division is sort of the expectation. To win the South, they're plus 125 to win the South. I mean, the Saints are projected by odds makers to be a playoff team, to win this division and be a playoff team. But to be the number 1 seed in the NFL, plus 2,500. To win the NFC, plus 1,400. To win the Super Bowl, plus 3,500. I mean, it's just, they're plus 125 to win the division, but to make any type of run just seems like an incredible long shot for this team. They'll have to devise some odds. We'll see if they can do it. Start to find those answers 2 weeks from Tuesday. A Saints training camp is almost here. All right, y'all, it's After Further Review. Brought to you by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, title sponsor of our Thursday shows all throughout the year. Whenever a team wins a championship, there are always very cool collectives and collectibles to go along with it. Those are starting to pop. One very cool one we'll tell you about next here. Stay with us. It's AFR.
AFR.
Thursday's a great night to get on by Pluckers, either location, Nicholson or Bluebonnet, dine-in, carry-out, or delivery. 28 flavors of award-winning jumbo chicken wings, ice-cold draft beer, full-service bar, and sports on TV. It's at Pluckers. Hey, look, if you were at Pluckers last night, you could have watched Domingo Herman throw a perfect game while enjoying ice-cold draft beer, a full-service bar, and award-winning jumbo chicken wings. Or, you could just have missed it. But Pluckers is always better. Tonight and every Thursday, all-you-can-eat boneless buffalo bites. This is white meat chicken, breaded, fried, tossed in your favorite wing sauce. And every Thursday, you can eat as many of them as you want all night long. Great news as well as Pluckers lunch prices have come down. Of course, when COVID had happened and there was so much supply chain issues and the price of everything was up, well, you're starting to see things normalize. These prices have come down again, which is a great, great thing for everyone. It's at Pluckers, Nicholson, Bluebonnet, dine-in, carry-out, or delivery. Pluckers, you don't like our wings. We'll give you the bird.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
Turn my music high, 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 yeah. You don't know what you're doing. Sure I do. I'm from the streets where the hood can swallow on me. Bullets will follow on me. There's so much that you can run the slalom. And cops comb this top to bottom. They say that we are prone to violence, but it's home sweet home. With personalities clashing, chrome meets chrome. Prices up and down like it's Wall Street.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play. with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all of that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart.
Seven, and every time I get to say that name and welcome him on air, it's a pleasure because that means LSU or the Saints won a championship. Bob's with Niko Sports, and they've done it again with a great commemorative for LSU baseball. Bob, how are you, man?
Hey, Matt, it's always a pleasure to be with you. Congratulations to all the Tiger fans and your audience out there. I didn't know I'd be talking with you today after that drumming that Florida gave you on the day before, but I've been around baseball, as you know, many, many years. I've never seen a turnabout going from losing a ball game 24-4 to winning it the next night 18-4, but you know, it's just a joyous time. I know there was a great celebration in your area last night over at the school. And we've got something for Tiger fans. You're going to want to get this phone number and the website when I give it out in a moment. Write it down. It's very special. It's a limited edition official baseball to celebrate the Tigers winning their 7th College World Series championship. Only 2,023 of these will ever be made. They're priced at $49.95. It comes with a gorgeous acrylic display case with a gold base. It'll keep it pristine looking for years to come. On the baseball on various panels, we'll have the Tiger head logo, the Tiger eye logo. It'll say National Champions right next to the LSU logo. We got some stadium facts there about Alex Box Stadium, and it is a season to remember, as it says right on this baseball. It's exclusive to Niko Sports. Only 2,023 will ever be made. You'll get a numbered certificate of authenticity. We're already closing in on the halfway mark of being sold. So let me give out that number so the fans can have it and order. It's 1-800-345-2868. That's 1-800-345-2868. If you can't get through the phone lines, go right to the website, NikoSports.com, NIKCO-sports.com. That's NIKCO-sports.com. And these will be sent to you in about 3 or 4 weeks. And closing, I got to tell you, you know, Matt, my son Kevin is a vice president with the Tampa Bay Rays and in charge of player personnel. He's been very busy the last 2 weeks, you know, with the draft coming up. Mm-hmm. He said, Dad, this Tigers team is maybe the best team ever in college history as far as the College World Series. So that's a pretty strong statement.
It's a mouthful, and it has been a pleasure to watch this team, and we're glad to see that they climbed the mountain. Bob, I still have the 2019 LSU football, the commemorative football from Niko Sports. It's in my office. I have the 2007 LSU football in my home office that you all did, and I'll look forward to having one of the baseballs as well.
Well, your man cave is all set up, my man.
I need the Tigers and the Saints to keep winning, man, so I can keep stockpiling the shelves.
All right. You have a great night, and thanks again for your support.
It's our pleasure, Bob. Thanks so much. That is Bob Ibach of Niko Sports. It's Niko Sports.com, Niko Sports.com, or you can call the number 1-800-345-2868, 1-800-345-2868. Again, I don't mind putting Bob on to promote this stuff. The stuff they do is beautiful. It's limited, and it's great to get autographs. Like if you want to have a displayed ball signed, they do it the best. And I know I'm looking at the ball here on the website, and the pictures on the website, you can tell some of the panels aren't finished yet on what they have on the website, because as Bob said, they're going to have like stadium facts and team facts and a lot of that stuff, which they do a very good job of it, of that as well. And so I'm looking, because if you go to the website, you'll see it says 2023 National Champions. It has a Season to Remember limited edition, 2023 of them. The Tiger head, the Tiger eye, but there's going to be other facts on the ball as well. Like I know on the football when they had, I guess they had they made a Joe Burrow ball as well. They made the National Champion ball and a Joe Burrow Heisman ball. They did. So I had both of them. But anyway, they do a great job. $49.95, $50 for the ball with a case. So in a display case. So really cool. Check it out. You can either get the gold base or the. I guess you can either get the gold. It says here. Okay, you can get either the gold base or the mahogany case. Oh, there's the mahogany one, Paul. If you want to put that up, you can see it. Oh, that's cool. Oh, that's really cool. Look, the mahogany one has the LSU National Champion logo. Sort of like it engraved on the glass. That's really cool. Anyway, check it out, NikoSports.com, Niko Sports.com. Be a great gift. Niko Sports.com, or call 1-800-345-2868, 1-800-345-2868. Well done with those guys. We appreciate that. All right, it's after further review. We'll get to Otter Locks coming up here in just a little bit. As you heard Bob say it there. There was the celebration last night out at Ibach Stadium celebrating the national championship. And Jay Johnson at that celebration last night continued to commend this team, the 2023 LSU Tigers.
On that day, on January 14th, I just asked a very simple question, like, what do you want to do? What do you want to accomplish? And it was very clear and very serious, Coach, we're going to win a national championship. And so I start with that because it's very easy to know you have a good team or a talented team. It's an entirely different thing to commit to it every single day and then follow that road step by step to the top. And as I said on Monday night, it was more gratifying because we didn't just win the national championship on Monday night. These guys were national championship people and players every day of the 2023 season.
That was well said by Jay Johnson. What a night. T-Bob and I were at Oliver Twist doing Scone and Tea, but they had the championship celebration on the TVs there. So it was kind of doing the show and keeping an eye on the championship celebration as well, which was really cool. And Tiger fans got to hear from Cade Beloso as well, the fifth-year player, on what it meant to win the Natty.
I mean, it means the world to me. Thank you so much for, welcoming me with open arms for the past 5 years. And I love you guys so much. And, yeah. Yeah, and I just want to, I love Coach Jay so much. And, he wasn't going to let me end a career like that. And, so thankful. And I'm forever indebted to Coach Jay and, teammates and the LSU. Sorry.
And one more, from Paul Skenes, who talked about his role and, what he brought to this team.
I think coming here to lead and, kind of build the brotherhood among other people. Obviously, when I come here, I'm going to have a brotherhood with each guy on the team individually, but building that with other people and building the love in the locker room among everybody else that was in there. To have the camaraderie and experience everything together as a team led to a lot of fun moments.
Replacing Paul Skenes' leadership, I think, is going to be a really big question. One of the things that, as you go through 2 weeks in Omaha, or 2 weeks of coverage in Omaha, right? I mean, LSU landed in Omaha 2 Wednesdays ago, and then were there all the way through, through Tuesday, when they flew home on Tuesday. So nearly 2 weeks. And you hear a lot of stories told when a team is gone for that long and the media's there and they have some downtime. And, one of the stories that we heard told was how Paul Skenes would go up to every player in the team and basically taunt every player in the team. Like, you're not better than me. You don't outwork me. You can, and it wasn't necessarily a taunt as much of it as it was a challenge. And the point is that is very reminiscent and eerily similar to the types of stories we would hear about Joe Burrow. Like Joe Burrow and Patrick Queen, like fighting each other at practice, or Joe Burrow and Devin White fighting each other at practice in 2018. The one big question for next year, you're losing a tremendous amount of talent. You're losing a generational talent on the mound in Paul Skenes. You're losing a generational talent in center field in Dylan Cruz, who many, myself included, believe is the best player, the best five-tool player, best career ever at LSU. And you're going to lose guys who have been such key program guys. Milazzo and Dugas, of course, are seniors. You're going to lose Morgan and Thompson, who have been your 3-year starters. You're going to lose a lot on this team. Ty Floyd, you're losing your rotation. But Jay Johnson is going to go recruit other really talented players. And you've already got we've gone through this a bunch, but you've already got a lot of guys coming back. You're going to have Brady Neal at catching. You're going to have Bear Jones potentially playing first. You're going to have Tommy White back at third. You're going to have Paxton Kling and Josh Pearson in your outfield. You're going to have Gavin Guidry potentially in the middle infield. You're already bringing in Michael Braswell, who's got a couple of years' experience in the SEC from South Carolina. My point is, you're going to have a lot of talented guys. They're going to go hit the portal hard. They're going to add more pieces. You're going to have another really great freshman class coming. So the talent piece of it, I don't know that I worry about or will ever worry about as long as Jay Johnson's the coach. The question for this year's team is kind of like what Jay Johnson alluded to so often, which was the thing that this team had was great chemistry, where you had veteran guys that were so bought into the team concept that even if it meant taking a lesser role. Remember, Cade Milazzo didn't really get into the lineup until after the Tennessee series, when he was back into the first 6 to 8 weeks of the season, he wasn't in the everyday lineup. And every time he got an opportunity, he grabbed hold of it. Gavin Dugas wasn't your opening day starter at second. Ben Napolt was. There were those guys, those veteran guys who were willing to be great leaders and take on whatever role it meant to win. Can you replicate that? Can you replicate that personality? I think that's going to be a key to next year's team, as well as the talent that you have to replace. They're going to have talented guys. It's LSU. They're going to recruit. They're always going to have talented guys. Can you put all those components together, though, the intangibles as well, that were such a big deal on this year's LSU team? My goodness, Paul Skenes wouldn't even go out to the dog pile without Alex Milazzo. He said, if he ain't going, I ain't going. It's just, play that one, would you please? This was Paul Skenes last night talking about the scene when he put Alex Milazzo on his back.
That meant everything. Alex caught me all year, and there's a special bond between the pitcher and the catcher, and I was next to him in the dugout, and I told him I wasn't going out there if he wasn't coming out there with me. So we found a way to do that, and I'm glad he got to experience it. That was the team. That was an embodiment of the team concept. The greatest player, the greatest pitcher in college baseball, maybe that we've ever seen, won't even go to the dog pile because the catcher has a broken leg and can't get out there, so he rides him on his back. That is the team concept that this LSU team had. Can next year's have it? And the one after that and after that. Start to find out. All right, it's After Further Review. We're brought to you by Mold Zero USA, mold-0usa.com. Mold-0usa.com. Mold's scary. We know it's dangerous, it's harmful, and it's also
mind-boggling to think about what you have to do to get rid of it. I mean, pulling out insulation, cutting sheetrock, removing carpet, furniture. Like, what could it have touched? Don't worry about that. Just call Mold Zero. Patented non-toxic dry fog treatment. It's incredible. Learn more about it. You can always get a free estimate. They go anywhere across the state of Louisiana. It's not just your home. Of course, your home, your office building, all of that as well. But with Mold Zero, I mean, there have been schools. There have been locker rooms. Think about if you're in a school or you own a gym or something like that. All the odors that you have in a gym facility, in a locker room. You want to get rid of that? All of the bacteria that's causing that? Mold Zero can help. Let it come in and spray. Less than a day to treat it. Mold-0USA.com. Mold-0USA.com for Mold Zero USA. All right, it has been a really good show. We appreciate y'all for hanging out with us here every single day. We've got one thing left to do. Jimmy Ott's going to jump aboard here. We'll do some Otter locks. Always look forward to having Jimmy on to find out what we're betting on. I don't know that the Otter had Domingo Germán throwing a perfect game last night. And candidly, I will tell you, I'm very sad to say that as much Yankees baseball as I watch, I did not get to watch the perfect game last night because I was at it was a late start. It was 8:30, but had a lot to do today. Otter did not have himself a terrific night last night. We lost with the Rays. His parlay did not hit either. So 0 for 2 for the Otter last night. But we'll see if we can get back on the right track tonight. We'll do some Otter locks when we come back next. Stick around here. It's AFR. AFR is brought to you by New Orleans Flooring. Get to NOLAflooring.com, NOLAflooring.com. Remember, buy where the pros buy. Love telling you about my friends at New Orleans Flooring. As a matter of fact, got plans to be over at New Orleans Flooring tomorrow morning to go see Big Sean and Terrell and the gang over at New Orleans Flooring on Airline Highway in Prairieville. So I might just see you there tomorrow morning. Hey, get to the website. They got a really cool function on the website where if you're like me and you're a very visual person and you can't really imagine what like this little square of carpet or hardwood or tile might look like in your room, you could like upload a photo of your room and they can impose the flooring in that room so you can see what it would look like. It's a really cool tool. Check it out at NOLAflooring.com. That's NOLAflooring.com. Metairie and Airline Highway in Prairieville. 2 locations, and you can always learn more or see what they have to offer at NOLAflooring.com. Buy where the pros buy. It's New Orleans Flooring. Get to NOLAflooring.com. That's NOLAflooring.com.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
This summer, retirement is a state of mind. Whether it's a mid-morning activity or an early bird special, grab a Coors Light and chill like you're retired.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $25,000 off new 22 Ram 1500 SCA trucks and incredible deals on all remaining 2022 inventory, all with Bayou's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
taco more than just a taco when it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with
After Further Review with Matt Moscona, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com.
Down the stretch we come. Final segment here on a Thursday edition of AFR, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. One thing left to do, find out what we're betting on tonight. Time for Otter Locks.
Otter Locks, presented by Lofton Staffing Services. At Lofton, we put people to work. Call us today at 924-0200 or go to lofton.jobs.
So we turn to the one and only, the incomparable, the often incomprehensible, the man who had Domingo Herman throwing a perfect game last night on his bingo card, the Ottfather himself, Jimmy Ott. Otter, how are you?
Yeah, after I gave up 8 earned runs the time before. I mean, this was I don't know, it was a full moon or whatever. I mean, you had gas cans pitching like Cy Young and, I don't know, all-stars taking their gas cans to the mound. This was a bizarro night on the mound. It was a extremely tough to predict, man, last night.
At one point in his career, Domingo Herman was fantastic. This year, he is not. But last night, he did something that has only been done 26 times in the history of the game. So congrats to him. That was pretty cool.
That's right. 26 people saw it at Oakland last night.
You know what? Actually, we should say 27 because, of course, who was the guy from Detroit who got hosed by Jim Joyce?
Gosh. I think it's a Latin guy.
Yeah, he was.
Forget.
It's going to hit me. Go ahead. It'll hit me when I'm not thinking about it.
Okay. Light schedule tonight, Matt. I mean, not a whole lot. Giants and Blue Jays. I mean, there you go. Great pitch for the
Armando
Giants.
Armando Galarraga.
There you go.
There it is.
There you go. Giants, I mean, Webb couldn't get anybody out last night. Blue Jays are tempting a little bit. They can't offer it at that price. Certainly can't offer Max Scherzer at that price. If anything, maybe a little value on the Brewers coming back. Max Scherzer minus 90. That's just crazy. I mean, he's spotty, and certainly the Mets are way overvalued all season long. I do like the Astros. You had 6 matinee games today on getaway day, and I think the Astros are in the same situation as Tampa Bay was, and we gave out the run line and the money line on Tampa Bay today, and they cruised easily, got up 6-0, won 6-1. Astros, kind of that old baseball saying, you win third decisively, you lose a third decisively. So it's 50-50 games. They stole one from the Cardinals last night, 5-run 8th to turn a 2-run deficit into a 3-run win. They went 10-7. This one more, I think it favors them a little bit more. And of course, the Astros starter is he's from Shaw. Now, we're not obnoxious and scream Catholic and all that.
Why would you be? There's so few of you ever to amount to anything professionally that I don't know why you would do that. If you had something to peacock and be proud of, you would. But I mean, what do you have? Sharif Ishaq? Congratulations.
Oh, it's quite a few prominent Shaw alums.
Ryan Clark.
All over the West.
Ryan Clark. Ryan Clark. There you go. You've got Ryan Clark.
But it's more about the Adam Wainwright fade. It's about a guy that's had a great career who was way overvalued this year. He's had a horrible year this year. And so JP France, the Astros, run line and money line to play tonight for the Astros.
All right. Otter, where are you tomorrow? Oh, Rufino's, huh? Yeah.
Back home.
Man, that's awesome. I think we're gonna be there maybe Monday night for dinner. Looking forward to. I haven't been to Rufino's and it's been maybe at least a month since it's been over there. I need to get over there. I need to come see you guys on a Friday too. That'd be a lot of fun.
It's been 3 weeks since we've been there on a Friday.
Yeah,
so we're ready to get back.
All right, man. Have a great show tomorrow. We appreciate it, Jimmy.
Thanks, Matt.
All right, that is Jimmy Yacht. Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny every weekday, 11 to 1 on 104.5 ESPN in Baton Rouge. Shout out to all of our affiliates. We appreciate y'all. New Orleans, Alexandria. Great first week here in Lafayette and Lake Charles. We appreciate y'all so much. Alexandria and Cenla. And, of course, WBTR, Cable 19 in Baton Rouge. Alondra Pauly, have a great night. We appreciate you. See you tomorrow.
AFR.
As we get on down the road, quick reminder about Traction. TractionSports.com, TractionSports.com. Next week, 4th of July. So no Traction Summer Baseball Camp next week, of course, with the 4th of July. They'll take the week off like most people will. But you can get back to Traction for summer baseball the week after. Go to TractionSports.com, TractionSports.com. You'll see the 2023, the Summer Baseball Camp tab. You'll see all the summer baseball camps where you'll learn fundamental training, position instruction. They'll have team games as well for the summer camps and clinics. Of course, Tiger great Brad Cressy is one of the best youth league baseball coaches you'll find anywhere in any sport, and he's phenomenal and runs the Traction youth baseball program. So, again, no camps next week, but they'll pick back up the week of July the 10th over at Traction. So, you want full or half-day options, go to the website. You can see the full-day schedule there. It's TractionSports.com, TractionSports.com. Traction, where champions are made.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind. When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all of that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
There it is.